We are recording.
Now?
We are recording, yes.
We're recording?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Pasquale Project. I'm your host, Zeb Pasquale, and this is the long-awaited reunion with me and my buddy Traver. If you want to know more about him and more about how he and I met and what his epic, crazy, tragic, and triumphant story is, go to episodes 6 and 7, I think, or 7 and 8, whatever. It was a long two-parter, and that's where we really delved into his story and what his project is, and kind of where I was at as well. So ever since then, he's developed what he's called the Man Uncivilized Ethos, which I think is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I'm seeing it is, number one, from the macro sense, even though he loves freedom and I love freedom,
Mm-hmm.
you can't have a conversation about freedom without responsibility, which means there are structures and rules and boundaries that guide us, that are meant to guide us and not imprison us.
Mm-hmm.
And to this end, all throughout history, humans have needed rules, and especially men. Men need a code, per se. If you don't like the word rules, which I don't, but I like the word code better. So I know Colin Powell had like 10, Ben Franklin had 10. It's usually between like 8 and 10. Musashi had 21 or something. So Traver has 12. And I remember he and I having lots of conversations about paradigms and about like whatever things. I myself, I'm sure I'll develop some someday. If you had to ask me right now, it would really be like 3 or 4. But I like this list of 12. So he introduced me to this guy named Jocko Willink, who I'm sure a lot of our mutual listeners listen to. And I love Jocko. It was through Jocko that I discovered Jordan Peterson, and through Jordan Peterson, I discovered, a bunch of other people. So one of the things that Jocko does on his podcast is he will take military classics from the past and take out passages from them and just dissect them and examine them with his partner, Echo Charles. And I thought that was such a cool concept. It's perfect for long form communications like podcasts. And so ever since I read Traver's Ethos, I was dying to like get him on the show and let's fucking get into this thing. Cause not only are these things great, but also I know Traver, and I know that he took a lot of time to not just write these out, but to parse them out and to edit them, which means I have to guess that at one point he had maybe like 30 and then like boil them down to 20, or maybe he had like 5 and it grew to 12. I want to hear about the process and, why create the ethos in the first place, and how is this different from the like 5 things that we had before, and so on and so forth. So, and plus we haven't caught up. He's a lot of, on his personal life. He moved, I'm just going to tell him, Trey, he moved from New York to, Colorado,
Yeah.
which I think is so cool. So welcome back, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. What did we do last time? Like 4 hours? I've cleared my schedule until tomorrow at 9 a.m.
It was a 5-hour, the first time ever, and never since was the recording so long that I had to into 2 parts.
Made sure I went to the bathroom beforehand. I have food, I've got water, I'm good.
Yeah, it was so cool and so fun. Like, so many people, men and women, got so much out of that episode, and I know they're going to get so much out of this. So I'm going to try to paraphrase the purpose of the ethos in that it's meant for men, and it's meant for a guideline for men, especially in today where I think for third wave feminism and kind of far left movements, man is bad and man is destructive and evil, and their world would be better off with men. So they think, and obviously I disagree. Where did the ethos come from? Like, why did you write it?
It's a great question, Zeb. Part of it came from, I have a woman in my life who is very publicly a vehement feminist.
Yeah.
And she and we've talked twice in our life, and we've talked for 6 hours.
Wow.
So 2 3-hour conversations. And the beauty is she and I see things as come from complete opposite directions. As in, what you just said disagrees with the fundamental way I live my life. And she'll say to me, what you just said, I think is actually leading to the downfall of the planet, but I respect you and I respect your work.
Sure.
So we have this mutual respect, and absolutely, like, I adore her. I love her. She's a fabulous human being.
Yeah.
Because we can have the conversation that says, I really respect you and the fact that you believe this, but because of your life experiences and your being a woman,
Yeah.
I don't expect you to understand this at all.
Yes.
And she and I actually talked just a couple days ago, and she said, I despise the idea that there's a code.
Yeah.
It makes me sick. It makes me angry. I think it's reinforcing gender norms, which shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
And I think it's terrible. And I said, a la Jocko, good.
Yes.
Yes. And tried to explain that men are different.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to explain it to you because you've never lived in my body or in my world, but we are just different creatures.
Yeah.
No different than cats and dogs are very different creatures.
Yes.
It doesn't mean we can't get along, but we need different rules. We need different activities. We need different outlets, and we see and feel and experience the world in very different ways.
Yes.
The masculine, whether that's in men or women, provides structure.
Yeah.
It seeks structure. It provides containers. It brings things to a point. It's not free flowing and all accepting and everything and nothing all at the same time. It is very structured and particular. So when I was, I work with men every day in my movement, and I wanted guys to have a particular document per se to come back to.
Yeah.
Say, hey, these are the fundamental 12 truths, or the fundamental, whatever we want to call them. This stuff's important. So if you're having challenges in your life as a man, most likely it's in one of these areas or more. Or let me rephrase that. If you want to excel in your life as a man, let me put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
If you do these 12 things and have an understanding of these 12 things, and you have a relationship with the ideas and what's underneath the ideas and what's to the side of these ideas of these 12 things, your life will not only flow significantly more easily than it does now, you will actually thrive in the world. I guarantee you, you will thrive, and you will separate yourself from every other man in the world who is just guideless, who is mapless, who is ethosless, who is just trying to make moment-to-moment decisions without any kind of backdrop. So this was, how it came about, Zeb, is like I literally just grabbed a pen and paper, and I got in this really not angry state, but like a state of like just truth.
Yes.
Just like brutal truth. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. What if I just put it on the paper unapologetically, unabashedly? I was like, this is what it is. Period. Fucking period. Any questions? Cool. Let's go settle it in the cage.
Yeah.
Bam. It was like that kind of aggression, but I think the aggression was towards, I either make this true or I don't do it at all.
Yes.
And I make it so it's going to upset people.
Yeah.
Or else I don't bother doing it, because I'm speaking to men.
Yeah.
I'm speaking to the same people who murder, rape, and create mayhem all over the planet.
Yeah.
And if they don't, have a very, very high chance of taking that same energy and turning it inward and becoming addicts or killing themselves.
100%.
So there's an intense energy around being a man right now that needs to get channeled in a positive direction, or it will go inner destructive or outer destructive. And we are witnessing that on such a global scale and such a destructive scale.
Yeah.
And my firm belief is that it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse as men become more and more isolated due to technology. So this was the you know what, boys? Boom. These are the 12 commandments. Questions? Start here.
So did you, when you let the pen write, was it 12 on the dot, or was it like 5 that grew, or was it like 30 that you had to edit down, or was it?
It was about 17.
Okay.
And then there were ones where I was like, oh, I've said that twice. I've just said it in a different way.
Got it.
And I added the last one very late in the game, the fight hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and even I think originally there might have even, I've gotten it down to 10. And truthfully, another woman in my life was like, there's no love in here.
Oh,
What else is this besides anger?
Right.
And I was like, it's not there. It's not just angry. It's uh, it's aggressive
Yeah.
because I'm feeling aggressive because of the shame that's being put onto masculinity right now societally.
Yes.
That for every one article of a guy doing something well in the world, there's 99 that have sought out some aberrant behavior. And that's not to say that that aberrant behavior isn't prolific,
Sure.
but in my heart, I believe men are good
Mm-hmm.
and they're shitty men.
Yeah.
Yet most guys I talk to and most guys I know are actually doing their best to live healthy, happy lives. They're
Yeah.
just not very good at it.
Right.
They're not raping, killing, and burning down the planet. They're
Yeah.
trying to raise their kids. They're trying to have happy wives. They're trying to have happy lives. They're trying to stay healthy, but they've been sold a shitty bill of goods.
Yeah.
And they don't have anybody willing to stand up and say, here, start here.
Yeah.
Follow me. This is what's going on. Fuck it. Come on.
Yeah.
And guess what? People aren't going to like you for doing this. So do it anyway.
Yeah. Awesome. I love it. I actually want to build on that as well, because not only is this necessary, but obviously men and women are different. When you're born, boys and girls are different. If you treat both of them the same, they're still going to come up differently because they'll have different propensities and different instincts. And so there's I would say there's a blanket set of things that you have to teach children on how to conduct themselves within a society and within a group. But also there are also rules that are for men and rules that are for women. Whereas for men and for boys especially, they either build or they destroy. Right?
Amen.
And so that's kind of the energy that we're born with. And if they're not taught and nurtured on how to use that energy, because we're naturally as sperm, we compete.
Mm-hmm.
And as an egg, a woman is chaste. So even before we are conceived, that is in our nature. So we need to use that. It's kind of like that old story of just kind of wild rabid males running around in a zoo, and instead of punishment, they just introduce 2 alpha males into the group, and all of a sudden, inside of a few months, all the males are well behaved or they have kept their savagery in check. And so that's where, I mean, that's me paraphrasing not just where this came from, but why it's needed.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of the same energy that murders and rapes and destroys is the same energy that protects and builds.
It's just,
and so you just have to be able to channel that, and you have to be taught that ideally from a young age, but also it's never too late. It's never too late too.
Agreed.
So, all right, let's dive into this, dude.
Sure.
So number 1, be unapologetically male.
Yeah.
So on the last one, on our last episode, we discussed the differences between masculinity and femininity, maybe mirroring that with the yin and the yang. So could you paraphrase or explain what being unapologetically male means?
I had no choice in being born male.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to apologize for it. I believe, and I've seen the contrary to this socially, people saying, no one's asking you to apologize for being male. I disagree with that.
Bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. I see it culturally. I see it in the media. I see it in social media. Men are trash.
Yeah.
Men are X. Men are Y. Men are etc.
Right.
So as a starting point, I want these guys I want to take this sentence, be unapologetically male, and say what it is and what it isn't. It is celebrate who you are. I don't give a fuck what you do with your life professionally, socially. I don't care if you're hyper masculine, if you're the head of SEAL Team 6, or if you are the most flamboyant florist in Miami Beach. Just to pick some examples, be unapologetic about the fact that you are male.
Yeah.
If you have shitty behavior, be apologetic for having shitty behavior. If you've hurt people in the past, apologize for that.
For sure.
If you've hurt people in the past because of how you were raised as a male, apologize for that. Do not apologize for your core nature.
Sure.
If I thought we could solve the world's ills, man, and I mean this wholeheartedly, Zeb, if I could stop rape, murder, destruction, and prison shit by getting everybody to just apologize hard enough, that would be my mission.
Sure.
That would be the post I stood on and what I yelled the loudest.
Yeah.
But what I see is that the subtext is be ashamed of being a man because of the behavior of other men.
Yeah.
That's the subtext.
Yeah.
And so that in itself, anytime we introduce shame into a community, that community is more likely, and this is my opinion, to act out in negative ways,
Yeah.
to have more addiction, to have more sexual acting out, to have more violence.
Yeah.
Right? It just crushes self-esteems. Like I've asked people all the time, which would you rather? Your partner comes home and is like, I'm really pissed at you, or I'm ashamed of you.
Right.
Like two very different experiences for that person.
Yes.
And so my idea for men is, hey, guess what? Not only did you not do anything wrong by being born this way, even if maybe society isn't saying that, but I think they are, even if they aren't, celebrate it.
Yes.
Celebrate it. It was International Men's Day the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I did not see a splattering across social media of celebration of men.
Right.
Despite all the roads we've built, the hospitals we've built, the doctors, the soldiers, every good thing, the garbage men, the plumbers, the electricians, the pilots, everything that men do without celebration, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go tit for tat with Women's Day or women's movements.
Right.
But I knew when it was Women's Day.
Sure.
Pretty damn clear across all media bounds. So just don't apologize for it. I have guys who come to me and say, I was raised in a household, and I personally was raised by a very feminist mother.
Yeah.
I was raised in a household where I was told I was a piece of shit because I'm a boy. I'm a piece of shit because I'm a man. The world's problems are mine because I'm a man. And I think, God, how is that guy as an employee?
Right.
How is that guy as a man who shows up on a first date?
Yeah.
How is that guy as a man on a third date after 3 drinks?
Right.
That to me is a dangerous person.
Yeah.
Because he's carrying so much fucking shame around.
Yeah.
And that's another guy who maybe on the 4th drink is going to go home and stick a barrel of a gun in his mouth.
Right.
Right. So let's start. Boom. I fucking love being a man.
Yeah.
That does not say that men aren't causing mayhem and havoc in the world.
Sure.
I'm still proud to be a man. I love being a man. I love what I get to do as a man. I love my body as a man. I love leading. I love every aspect of it. And I'm working to correct the ills of my brothers.
Awesome. Yeah, because I obviously am not I'm not subject to the same assail as you are. So I'm very lucky in my circle. I have equal parts men and women friends, and I would say there's like zero sense of disrespect or malice on any of our parts. Mm-hmm. But that being said, I do also try to keep up with current events, and I watch your journey as well. And I know that it's out there. I know that there's this poisonous fog of venom that was, if I could, I'm in support of first wave feminism, where the woman was fighting to have equal access to rights and equal rights of men. But everything after that, what I think the pendulum tried to swing the other way, and it only made the problem worse. So, but even I myself, where if we understand that the energy of masculinity is to lead and to be a fixed point for chaos, and to be direct and to provide strength and to provide protection. I've been in a position of responsibility like that for a great while, but before that, it was kind of it was like the Wild Wild West. You were just like looking for it, and you didn't know what you were looking for. And luckily, I was indoctrinated into many practices where, going back to one of your things, I'm not sure if it's here, but to find a spiritual practice. And I think for my whole life, as a side effect, a lot of my spirituality, if you will, was tied to a physical practice, because there was martial arts and there was wrestling and there was the military program and so on and so forth. But it wasn't just about the physical things. It was about learning the values of discipline and respect, and not just respect, but also protection, and especially manners, and especially how men treat women. Yeah. Because obviously the assumption is that women are the physically, on average, weaker of us, but that doesn't mean that we exercise control. It means we actually protect and respect. And I kind of love that. And when you find a spot that matches your talents, and basically you are in a position of responsibility, and there are people who are looking to you for either direction or advice, or even on a professional level to produce results for them, and you do it well, so well that you're like, you become the person. That is really awesome. Like it's as if why should I try to protect that? You know, because sometimes, you know, you'll hear like, just fucking be a man and do it. And some people will be triggered by that, but I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's true. And then when you do it, you're like, yeah, good job. And it wasn't meant to degrade you into being a lesser man. It was meant to build you up, because if that hurts you, the world will do so much worse.
Yeah.
You know? So, okay.
I agree.
Awesome.
Yeah. Let me just interject quickly that my fight is not with any aspect of feminism.
Sure.
Despite disagreeing with a lot of what I hear in third or fourth wave.
Yeah.
It's truly not. Fight for all of your rights. Fight for everything you can possibly do to create equality, if that's what you're actually doing.
Yeah.
However, anything that breaks down the opposite gender or sex or whatever we're going to call it, for the point of this call, we're just going to stick to men and women.
Agreed.
Anything that breaks down the opposite and says we need to gain power by disempowering you, is going to create further power struggles, further hatred, further anger, further murder, further, etc.
Yeah.
So it's not my fight. And I say to people, it's just like opening a CrossFit gym. When we first opened CPC and found out, oh, direct competition is a block away.
Yeah.
People would say, like, what do you think about that? And I go, I actually don't think about it at all.
Yeah.
All I think about is how I make my gym the best place on earth. Period.
Yes.
Fucking period.
100%.
Yeah. So, you know, one of the challenges, Zeb, that people say, like, I feel like the movement, or not even the movement, but the message and the hypocrisy today is, and I said this to a woman yesterday who's kind of in the same field, I was like, it feels like if we say, just for this example, no one fucking email me all upset, that women are cats and men are dogs.
Sure.
What we've heard for the last 20 years is don't be a dog, don't be a dog, dogs are bad, don't be a dog. Be as close to being a cat as you possibly can.
Yeah, no.
That's how we make you safe. We just want you to have all of the cat characteristics despite having a dog body.
Right.
Now, here's the challenge, though, because when there's a loud noise in the other room and a window breaks, all the cats look at the dog and go, dude, go fucking do, wait a minute, where are all the dogs? Hey, where are all the good dogs?
Yeah.
Where are all the dogs? And so it's that men have gotten the confused messages of like, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to I have natural urges. I have natural proclivities. I have natural desires. I have expressions. I want to fucking wrestle with people.
Yeah.
All the way down to how the school systems are run, where this all starts. The absolute, I know it's a tangent, but the feminization of elementary school where, hey, let's take the most rambunctious humans on the planet, sit them in a chair for 8 hours.
Yeah.
And if they act out, move, or want to run around, we'll drug them or we'll shame them.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in first grade, literally like staring out the window. Like I now look at a naked woman. Like with the same, like, let me at it. Like the same, like, like when we got 15 minutes till recess, 14 and a half minutes till recess. Like that's torture.
Yeah. It's terrible.
It's how we're raising boys. Anyway.
No, I mean, I got you. We can like, I actually think about this a lot too. The podcast after this actually is going to be with some old friends. You might know one of them, about the politics and economics of California. And even beyond that, like how I'm not sure that I would be comfortable raising a family here just because of the way the policies are going and the way, you know, the culture is going. So, but you know, raising a child is a lot to do with that, or raising a family, even, because I don't agree with a lot of what the school system is teaching and how the school system is conducting their curriculum. You're inside all the time. You're sitting down all the time. You're getting drugged, and it's like they're taking more rights away from parents and giving more to the state. So,
have you hung out with a 6-year-old or an 8-year-old recently? Like constant movement, especially a boy.
Yeah, 7-year-old boy.
Constant movement, like constant movement.
Yeah, it's to me, I love it. I love it, but also it's for that purpose, that like they should be given more freedom and more ways to express. Like you don't take you don't take a dog and just put them inside the whole day.
Right.
Dogs must run. Dogs must exercise. Dogs must be given discipline.
Right.
Dogs must be given affection.
Right.
Lest they become just like killers, So
exactly, lest they become killers.
Yes. But okay, so of the 12 that are here, I would say this next one is probably the only one where I'd love to parse out because I think on its face, I found myself kind of disagreeing, and when I read it, I think I got your part. But now that you're here, I'd love to dig into it a little bit, because number 2 is be your brother's keeper.
Yes.
And so I'm a very big individual rights guy and freedom guy, but also freedom that is earned and born from the idea of responsibility. And I think also because I was raised kind of in an Asian household, but inside the house it was Asian, but outside the house it was Western. And there, like, I'm gonna try to explain it in a practical way. So I think in an Asian household, let's say you have a brother, which I don't, right? But let's say if one of the brothers is successful and the other brother is a loser. Yeah. Where the other brother, he makes a lot of money and he does well for himself and he doesn't get into trouble. And then one of the other brothers hangs out with the wrong crowd, gets arrested a lot, and is just a lazy bum on the couch. In an Asian household, it would be like, why aren't you taking care of your brother? Right. Whereas in the Western household, it's like, if the brother's a loser, it should be like, if they look at the winner brother and be like, you know what, hey, good job. And that's it. It's like, there's no sense of like, hey, take care of your brother. So I think that's where I instinctively came from when I looked at this. And I think that's what I thought. But after having just spoken with you the last few minutes, I have a feeling it's not that at all. Like, I have a feeling that there's a difference between being responsible for yourself and doing your best. And sometimes life happens. And when life happens, you need some help, like everybody does. And I think it's in that sense that this was written, not in the help the loser become more of a loser by rewarding his loser habits. No. It actually breaks down this way of men need men. Okay. Yeah. So we need brothers. Yes. We need to look at each other as brothers. We need to have conversations man to man that we do not have man to woman. We need to have men's groups. Yep. We as men actually need to step into the social problems that we're facing that other men are causing and say, hey, this is part of our responsibility as well. Yeah. I want to be part of the solution. Part of being part of the solution is being there for other men. Yes. Not picking up their slack. Yeah. But calling them forth, calling them forward. Yes. Saying, brother, you can do better. Yeah. I've said that too. I had a guy call me, email me about joining Man Uncivilized. Okay. I said, okay, cool. Let's talk 3:30 on Friday. 3:30 on Friday rolls around. No phone call. I email him. I text him. Nothing. Get a message over the weekend. He's like, you know what? This is part of my problem. I don't have accountability. And I sat there and was like, okay, I could let him off the hook. Be like, it's a business thing, right? Could be like, hey man, don't worry. Shit happens. Like, let's talk Monday. And I literally just said, I expect better of you. Yeah. I as a man expect more of you as a man. You gave me your word. I set aside my time. You owe me a phone call. Yeah. Get on the fucking phone with me. Good. And that's what I mean by you are your brother's keeper. So much of what I see right now is the hyper competitiveness within men and the hyper isolationism within men. Yeah. So it's not just like, I call people brother and it's just a habit now. Like, hey brother. And not just you who are my brother, but random men that I meet, in the gym or even in the supermarket. Someone's like, hey, I'm like, hey, what's up, brother? Yeah. And I don't think I'm black. It's just pretty damn sure last time I checked. I got you. It's just part of my nomenclature because I want to pass on to other men. What if we all looked at each other this way? Oh yeah. It feels great when somebody calls me that. So when the guy who is actually facing the bottle and a gun goes, you know what? I have brothers though. Yeah. It's not just friends. I've got brothers. Yes. That to me, that's why I wrote, be your brother's keeper. Start picking each other up. Start calling each other forward. Start saying, hey, you know what? That racist joke you just made, it's not really that funny. Yeah.
I don't appreciate that. Hey, and you were like, yeah, and then after the third date, I'll rape her. Like, I actually don't find that funny either.
Yeah.
So it's not socialism or communism.
Sure.
It's like, you can fucking do better. And because you're going to be around me as a man, I demand better of you. And I want you to hold that same lens to me.
Yeah. No, yeah, I got that. So yeah, it's like, so now I see it for what it is, where there is a standard that is high,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone's starting off at different spots, but it is up to us to keep each other accountable, to hold each other to the same high standard.
Yeah.
Not to kind of lower the standard to meet the differences of us. Like we're all striving for the same high standard. So
Yes.
I get that now. Yeah. So
and you can stand on that high standard platform and reach your hand down and help pull somebody up. I take phone calls every single day from men I don't know.
Yeah.
Who literally get on Instagram and message me and say, what do I do in this situation? I'm like, brother, get on the phone with me.
Awesome.
And some of them, I'm at the end like, hey, you know what? You need to hire me. And about 80% of them, like, you good? That help? Okay.
Awesome.
Do me a favor. When someone's in need around you, help them out, especially if it's a guy.
Yeah.
Go get it. Boom.
Awesome. Yeah. Jocko actually had an episode where he was talking about the commanding general, and how one of the many marks of what makes a great general is that he treats everyone equally, or he holds everyone to the same standards,
Mm-hmm.
especially his closest friends and dear friends.
Mm-hmm.
And he should actually be as severe with them as the like rookie private.
Mm-hmm.
And more than that, he should take no pleasure in administering punishment, but he still has to do it. And in doing that, and in treating everyone equally to that standard, he is both loved and respected.
Yeah.
And it's so true. And it does take a moral courage that must be learned, because it's hard.
It is
really
fucking hard, man. It is hard. And this also plays to the idea that how many of us thrived on a team.
Yes.
Even if that team was CrossFit, right?
Yeah.
That's what made CrossFit so popular, was the idea of, hey, you're no longer out there all alone in this whole thing called life.
Yes.
So let's do that too, especially men. Women are far better at creating social circles around themselves. Social media is far more female used and female based. When I got divorced, I think I told you, I had to Google, like literally Google, how the fuck do I survive a divorce? And it was like, Women's Divorce Network, Women's Breakup Network, Women's this, Women's that, Women's this.
Wow.
And good. You guys, good. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you have it.
Yeah.
And yet, I didn't find it for men, which, what do you know? Men are 8 times more likely to commit suicide in a divorce than women are.
Wow.
So
I never knew that. I didn't know that part of the story.
Keeper. Yeah, it's crazy, the number, if we go through the numbers. That's what I mean. Like, if you see a guy struggling, check in with him. Right? There are guys in your life that were like, guys, fuck it. He's man up. And I get that. There are times when I'm in a gym, I'd be like, man the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the time for you to have feelings and sensitivities.
Right.
This is time for the deadlift to come off the floor.
Yes. Yes.
And every other time, it's not like, dude, your girl left you. Pfft, plenty of fish in the sea.
Right.
It's, you know what? That must suck. Let's sit down and have a conversation about this.
Yeah.
Let's actually share.
Yeah. It's crazy, man, because one of my friends just had a breakup, I think 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And he's not the type that admits vulnerability or emotion. Like, once you drag it out of him, he can talk about it, but he's not going to be like, hey, I'm hurt right now and I need a friend. Cause I'm comfortable saying that, but he's not. It'll just be like, hey, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and after we end the recording, I'll tell you who it is, but, yeah, I could tell, and it sucked because I knew at any one point he was going to call me or he was going to text me and be like, hey, do you want to hang out? Whatever. Mm-hmm. And of course, the night that I already had plans, he asked me, but I was just like, look, let's hang out tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And I was at his house until from 7 to midnight. Yeah. And
good. You were your brother's keeper.
Yeah.
Right. So, or how many guys, one, don't have someone that they can reach out to like that?
Yeah.
2, are too afraid to reach out to anybody, especially another man.
Yeah.
To admit, like, yeah, my fucking heart's broken. I am all fucked up, and that's okay. Because guess what? We all are. It's this letting down of the ego to have some kind of inclusionism, if that's a word, that says like, hey, when you're hurt, call me.
Yeah.
And I actually mean that. And I've had men, when I went through my divorce, I had so many good guys around me.
Yeah.
And even men who I just met, be like, here's my number. I've been through what you're going through. 2 a.m, you can call me.
Awesome.
That's why I mean, be your brother's keeper.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's really great. Like, and I like that this is number 2 because, you know, I do enjoy a deep and kind of sizable network, but a lot of that network was a side effect of me just doing my thing. You know, I've never actually sought out to create a group, but I like that you created a group for the purpose of having a group, for the purpose of having a network to begin with, because it didn't exist.
No.
You know, and now it exists. Everything you're doing. I love when, I remember when you told me once that you were not like Facebook's biggest fan, and I understand why, but the fact that what the group you've created, I enjoy the daily check-ins and I enjoy the daily accountability things. Like I enjoy writing on it, you know, and
yeah, it's going to get better and better and better once we create, you know, a little more trust in there. It's a new group, right? And I only go to Facebook for that group. And if I had another platform it's amazing, man. Having a community of like-minded men is something that's so unique to men.
Yes.
I get the question all the time. And I actually created that group and created the Uncivilized Nation because guys would go through my program and then 3 weeks later call me and be like, I can't hang out with anybody.
Yeah.
I'd be like, why not? Like, I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I work out every morning. I read books. I'm really into meditation and spirituality. I'm not sport fucking anymore. I really want to have a good relationship. I'm super curious about this workshop that's coming up this weekend, but I don't want to tell anybody about it because all my guy friends will be like, you're a fag.
Right.
And so who do I hang out with? I was like, okay, you hang out with us. You hang out with everybody else who's gone through the program, or this unique subset of men that was in my life, such as yourself, who was like, yeah, we'll go study anything.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And we don't use the F word. So piss off with that. Like, just be cool.
Yeah. No, I love it, man. And it's funny because when you go in there and you start, you know, writing, it's just like founding member. But I also know that, there's other guys on there who read it but are too shy or too scared and don't want and like don't feel like they are worthy to contribute. And that's why the minute you post something, I try to comment as soon as possible, just so guys can feel more comfortable, you know. And I want to post my losses as much as my wins because there are very many, you know.
Maybe we'll do Monday losses. Everyone just can be like, "Oh my God, this is what I did this weekend."
Yeah. We'll
do it. I'm gonna write that
because I was actually gonna. I was wondering about like. Because you have like you post Friday wins, and I was actually gonna propose Saturday losses from the Friday night. But I like Monday losses that lead into the week's wins or Monday wins.
What are you gonna do about it?
I love it. All right. So number 3 is probably the one that I love the most and I agree with the most and is the most important.
Yeah.
This
is also the most misunderstood one.
Yes. Yeah. And I would love to. I would love to toss my head in there and try to explain it, you know, for our listeners. Because I mean, obviously me and you, but if it's the most misunderstood one, all the more important for us to both, you know, have a hand. But be dangerous, but not a danger. So the way I'm seeing it is that there are two views of peace. One is the view of straight up utopianism, where everyone is naive and innocent and there's no conflict and no violence happens. And then another one is where there are people who are exercising freedom, and within them exercising freedom, there is sometimes conflict.
Yeah.
And sometimes within those conflict, it can either lead to civil arguments or it can lead to straight up wars.
Yeah.
And the better warrior isn't necessarily the one who has the best cause. So one who's fighting for something that's right can still lose. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, obviously, I'm not a fan of the naive utopianism, because every time it's been tried, it just kind of fails utterly and leads to freaking mass murder. Mm-hmm. Whereas with the other one, you actually do enjoy a not perfect, but high level of freedom and security and prosperity. Mm-hmm. So, but what that looks like is you have a bunch of people who have embraced the idea of personal responsibility, but along with that personal responsibility, or undergirding that responsibility, is the sanctity of their own life. Mm-hmm. And because their life is sacred, they have a duty to defend that life. Mm-hmm. And in order to defend that life, you need to be able to call upon your savage nature if needed. So you can't just like lay down when there's a threat. You know, so what my old gymnastics teacher was a grizzled Vietnam vet.
Mm-hmm.
And this was in, I think, in the days when political correctness was like so high. It was like a virtue to just be politically correct and whatever. So I think at one point he was just like, he was so upset with the state of the world. He was like, Zeb, if Al Qaeda invaded Los Angeles right now, do you know how much trouble they would have taking everything? Zero. Nothing. Why? Because everyone would just be like, please, sir, please just take everything. Just take whatever you want. Please. Just like, so
I apologize for my privilege.
What happened? Yeah, exactly, dude. It was, I was like, wow. But and I remember too, when I was taking martial arts and when I was learning wrestling, it was, or even when I was in the military, the first thing they teach you is respect, and and not just respect for the art, but respect for yourself and respect for your teacher and respect for your fellow people. Because I didn't understand it as a kid, but when you're a teenager and when you're a man, you are being taught some very dangerous and deadly things. Mm-hmm. You're either being taught deadly things to accomplish with your own body, or you're being given weapons, to that are designed to essentially kill. And so you can't be taught that. You can't be given that skill prior to being taught respect. So, I mean, yeah. So in the end, what you have are a bunch of people who are dangerous, but choose not to use that skill for the sake of peace and for the sake of civility. Mm-hmm. That to me is the highest form of peace that you can achieve while exercising freedom. Because the utopianism idea has always failed or led to, like I said, mass poverty or mass murder. Mm-hmm. Even though it sounds better on paper, just like other things that sound better on paper. Mm-hmm. So this is the point of being dangerous, but not a danger. In fact, the reverse is also true. If you are not dangerous, if you don't make yourself competent at self-defense or capable of protecting yourself or capable of protecting your family or your friends or community, you're actually more dangerous to yourself and more dangerous to society. Amen. Because you won't know what to do, and you'll be vulnerable to bad causes. You'll be vulnerable to manipulation. So that's my take on it. That's why it's so important to continuously self-invest and to continuously learn how to protect yourself and to invest in making yourself hard, like making your body hard and making your mind not hard, but uncomplicated.
Next, that's number 4.
What happened? Oh, there you go. I didn't see that. Yeah. So that's my take on the be dangerous, but not a danger.
Yeah. You hit it, right? Dangerous men have the choice. Do I unleash my savagery in this situation, full well knowing what the ramifications are of doing so? I actually get to make the choice.
Yes.
My ego, which I am no longer protecting, most likely, obviously there are outliers in every situation, but you take 100 trained fighters, guys that have spent their lives on the mats, getting punched in the face, getting choked out, getting their faces grinded in, getting their asses handed to them for years. 99 of them will be the safest people to be around on earth.
Yes.
Because one, they've gone through the training.
Yeah.
Right? You've gotten beaten up so many times and go, God, this is not fun.
Yeah.
2, the actual potency of your skill.
Yeah.
So it's not to be fucked around with. It's like you're either going or you're not. There isn't like, hold me back, bro.
Right.
You're either going for the throat or you're not at all.
Yeah.
So you've gone through that training, but mostly it comes down to when you make yourself dangerous, you have a choice of whether to unload it or not, as opposed to the guy that has so much to prove.
Yeah.
Because his ego is the classic Jersey Shore frat boy dickhead.
Right.
Who's just like, whose ego is all over the place.
Yeah.
And has to fight. It has to prove. He has to prove to the outside world how tough he thinks he is, because he doesn't know how tough he actually is, because he hasn't been through the crucible of that training.
Yes.
So that's first and foremost.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I've spent my life with very, very dangerous people.
Yeah.
They're primarily the most polite, calm, centered humans you ever want to be around.
Yeah.
I've also been around a lot of dickheads.
Yeah.
Who are not dangerous.
Yeah.
But are fucking dangerous. Right. They're a danger.
Yes.
Right. They have their shadows are running the show.
Yeah.
right? The shadow expression of the unseen. They're not seen, they're not heard, they're not validated. They have no sense of community. They don't know whether they could X or Y.
Yes.
So they have to try to prove it to everybody.
Right.
And that does make them a danger.
Yeah.
This is, again, it's misunderstood completely, right? I had someone ask me the other day, are you just trying to create more dominance in the world because you are a dominant person?
Right.
And she said, male dominance is actually the problem. And I was like, okay, first of all, I disagree.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to create more dominance, although I fucking love dominance
Sure.
in every capacity.
Sure.
What I'm trying to create is dominion,
Yes.
ownership of your little circle.
Yeah.
When you're dangerous, you have healthy boundaries.
Yes.
It's easy to say no.
Yep.
It's easy to say, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
It's easy to say to the guy in the bar that's had too many drinks that wants to fight you, oh my God, you could totally kick my ass. And so I'm just going to walk away and leave you here.
Yeah.
And truly not give a shit.
Yeah.
Because this is a 15-second problem to put that guy on the floor and beat his fucking head in.
Yeah.
Or to choke him out or whatever it is that you're going to do.
Yeah.
But if you don't know, you're going to prove it.
Yeah.
You got, okay, we got to figure this out. We got to see whose dick is bigger. Let's joust.
Yeah.
And it just creates more and more and more and more problems. I think also for men, like you said, we need to be engaged in a practice that hardens us.
Yes.
For most men, period.
Yeah.
Because again, here is, if Zeb, if you want to ask me, like, what is masculinity in the two simplest terms, or what is the masculinity that I'm proposing? It comes down to, it's so easy. And this the first half I took from Jack Donovan, who said, what would be expected of a man if you're in a village and a group of zombies attack?
Yeah, I saw that.
What's expected, right? It's to protect, it's to kill, it's to hold the line, it's to protect those who are weaker than you. Boom. Now, here's where we run into trouble in society. We're not under attack by zombies a lot.
Right.
So we also have to have a flip side to that coin.
Right.
Which is also, because we do have a lot of guys who have been traumatized. How do we heal?
Yeah.
How do we heal each other? How do we heal ourselves?
Right.
How do we heal the other people in the tribe who may have gotten hurt?
Yeah.
Who may have lost people? How do we as men hold space to facilitate the healing of the feminine by all of the damage that we've done in the past?
Yeah.
Wow. Holy shit. We have a whole nother job now. But we don't get to do that holding space and healing without the innate capability of protecting the wall and the line if it were under attack.
Yes.
Because no one will trust us.
Right.
Right? Ask women. And women who are listening to this, ask yourselves, do you feel safe with your man in the house? Is he someone who, if someone came to the door, like women would joke, be like, I'd have to fight the guy off. Okay, how much do you trust that man with your emotional availability? It is terrible, but it's a joke, right? It becomes like oh my God, it's not funny. And it doesn't mean that there aren't women who are stronger than men, and it doesn't mean that there aren't women who aren't attracted to men who are submissive and stronger. And guess what? That's fucking awesome. Go be the best submissive you can be.
Yeah.
But someone has to be the masculine in the relationship, and so often that's men. And when we do train, when our bodies are hard, when our elbows are sharp, when we know how to defend ourselves, and when we're willing to step into that crucible and be like, fuck it, let's dance.
Yeah.
I believe that sets the foundation for the emotional and spiritual capability to then sit across from someone and say, I got you.
Yes.
No matter what you're going through, I got you.
Yes.
Because every day of my life is a crucible in the gym.
Yes.
It's not a direct translation though. You can have guys with 700-pound deadlifts who are emotional children. Sure. So they have to do the opposite work as well.
Yes.
But be dangerous. But don't be a danger, guys, too.
Yeah.
This is also, I want to emphasize the second half of that sentence, which is, if you know after 4 drinks, you turn into a little bit of a gropey dude.
Yeah.
You start thinking like, maybe I'll get her 2 more shots and take her home. You're a fucking danger.
Yes.
To regulate that.
Yeah.
You need to actually, or have brothers or go seek out therapists or seek out men's groups and say, you know what? Or quit drinking.
Yes.
Like, stop fucking adding to the cesspool of problems because you can't handle your own regulation.
Yeah.
Be dangerous. Do not be a danger.
Yes. 100%. I almost see number 4 now as the logical extension of number 3,
Mhm.
or even how to achieve number 3,
Yeah.
where number 4 being is make still the mind, make savage the body.
Yes.
And not only is that the gateway to number 3, but also I see that as the practical end of, you and I had a conversation once about how you've met like really beautiful divine men,
Mhm.
and some like and crazy meatheads, and how the crux of the Man Uncivilized movement is the balance between the divine masculine and the primal masculine.
Absolutely.
And how I get that. Especially when someone says, when people say we are not our bodies, we're spiritual beings, and
Yeah,
so on and so forth. I get that, but we live in a physical world,
absolutely.
and you're not your body until you have to defend yourself, or
Yeah.
until you get into if you're in an emergency.
Right.
I can't like use the force to solve this problem.
Yeah. Or
Kind of
until, I say this to both men and women,
Yeah.
like, men, you're not your body until you get a hemorrhoid. Women, you're not your body until you get a UTI.
Yes, exactly.
Then tell me you're not your body.
Right.
No,
Yeah,
no,
you
no.
can't just sit there
You're
and be
your fucking body.
It's like, I'm not my body. I'm not my body.
When your butthole is throbbing, you are your body, my friend.
So outside of because I think that's how I was reading that from the practical sense. Do you want to elaborate more on what, like, making still the mind and making savage the body?
Yeah, it really comes down to have a relationship and dominion, I'll use that word again, over your mind,
Yeah.
right? Meditate
Yeah.
profusely.
Mhm.
Understand that the greatest enemy most likely lies between your ears.
Yeah.
Also, your greatest foe, your greatest ally lies between your ears if
Yes.
you know how to train, temper, and use that tool. But make still the mind, like, calm your minds, guys. Get out of your heads.
Yeah.
Learn that the brain is just a tool. It's no different than a chainsaw.
Mhm.
It's great when you need to cut down trees.
Yeah.
But if you don't need to cut down trees, having that fucking thing on, like,
Yes.
all day long will drive you crazy, like literally drive you crazy.
Yes.
So have a practice of being calm.
Mm.
That is a powerful, calm to me is an entity.
Yeah.
It's a verb, like calm.
Mhm.
Watch what happens to everybody in the room with you after 2 months of meditation. Watch what happens when you have the agency over your being, where you can take 3 deep breaths and your central nervous system gets dialed down by 60%. And it's literally like the fucking force or magic.
Yeah.
Everybody else in the room's like,
Mhm.
man, where then you actually have so much more control over whatever situation you're in.
Yeah.
Right? Go sit in a DMV and feel the tension at all times. Or I don't know if you've ever had someone, like one person in a room
Yeah.
at a bank, like yelling. Everybody gets fucking tense.
Sure.
Everybody does. Yet I don't know if you've ever walked in and just sat down and like smiled at someone and watched the whole energy of the room.
Yeah.
Poof, it comes down. So
Yeah.
I want men to have that ability,
Yeah.
as opposed to just hoping. Like, oh, and so many guys like, I need to meditate. I know. Then fucking meditate.
Yeah.
Right? Like, stop knowing what you need and not doing, and start
Right.
doing. Make still the mind. Make savage the body you get.
Yes.
Like, we are German shepherds. We
Yeah.
need to run. We need to wrestle. We need to fight. We need to lift shit. We need to surf. We need to use our body and exhaust this vast energy that we've been given.
Yes.
Otherwise, we create mayhem.
Mm-hmm.
We do. Idle hands are the devil's playground, or whatever, something like that.
Yeah, truly.
Like, when men are, come home on a Saturday morning after a ripping CrossFit workout,
Yeah.
and see how much trouble you want to go get in.
Yeah.
Right? All 5 seasons of Game of Thrones.
Yep. Exactly.
Rape, murder, and bank robbery.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones. And both of these things are also a journey.
Sure.
Right? Like, I view masculinity, Zeb, as a pathway.
Yeah.
No different than Christianity is a pathway, except 50% of the population was born into masculinity. Yet very, very few people understand that it is a pathway to enlightenment, to strength, to relationship, to peace, to unity, to all of the good of life if we decide to use it and follow it. Just like meditation, man, that's a fucking journey. That's no different than jujitsu.
Yeah.
It's no different than CrossFit. Make savage the body. You're going on a journey.
Yeah.
You're going to learn a lot about yourself when you step up to the bar and have to pick it up. When you paddle out into 20-foot surf,
right,
you're going to learn a lot about yourself.
Sure.
And that will then change how you view it. Changes this. It gives you, again, more training in the foundational energy underneath the sentence, I got you.
Yes.
And I got this. Whatever comes up, I got this. Right? I used every MMA tool, CrossFit training tool I'd been given to get through my divorce. I had all of that mental strength available to me because it'd been trained day in, day out. Guess what? This is going to fucking suck.
Yes.
Guess what? We've done lots of sucky stuff before.
Yeah.
We'll be okay. You got this.
Yeah.
So it's a biggie.
Yeah. I mean, I think my view has grown like after your explanation, because where the mind, if left unchecked, it's the world's most powerful computer, and it never stops processing, even in sleep. Only in death does it stop processing. So without a direction or without a program or without a goal, it just runs amok. Especially, like for men and women alike. But I've heard the saying that where men hurt others and women hurt themselves. So men especially need.
That's my saying.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. So
some genius must have coined that.
You're my brother's keeper.
Yeah.
So now that the most powerful and dangerous computer is given a goal, the only thing that can execute on that goal is a body.
Right.
And the more savage your body is, the better your chances of achieving that goal, number one, and number two, the more useful you are to others who also have goals. Whereas if your body is not savage, but if your body is soft, the most successful people will prioritize health, because there's a certain level of energy and strength you need to accomplish the things you need to accomplish.
100%. And
so, that's the, I love it a lot, man.
Good. And make them practices. Both are practices. Sure. They never end. When do you get to stop doing this? When you're dead.
Yes. 100%. That's the only time. Okay. Number 5, know your deepest gifts grow in the garden of your wounds. Very beautifully written. I'm reading this as most men are haunted and essentially taken over by their past, especially by the traumas of their past, instead of using the lessons and resources of their past to grow. Like they're letting their wounds continuously be open, and they're not allowing their wounds to heal and to heal stronger. Instead, they just keep coming in and ripping them up. But that's not, if you just kind of change the way that you look at it, it's not just gifts, but it's your deepest gifts, because we all know the hardest lessons are the best ones.
Amen.
So that's how I read that. Can you give your take on what's behind it?
Yeah. Pain is the greatest teacher none of us want to learn from.
Yeah.
That's it in a nutshell. For men, pain is the greatest leader we are too afraid to follow. So when I talk to men, especially men, and say, brother, where are you hurt?
Yeah.
They're like, I'm not fucking hurt anywhere. I'm a dude.
Yeah.
Okay, let's dive into this.
Yep.
And inevitably, if you're human, you have been wounded. Period. It just, you have.
Yeah.
Whether it's from, I don't care if you know what household you grew up in, how perfect your parents were, how amazing the whole situation is. Somewhere along the line, you have received multiple wounds.
Yeah.
The older you get, the more they are, the bigger they are. Yet I actually believe in the law of duality, meaning the further something goes to the left, the actualized potential exists for it to go the same distance to the right.
Okay.
Meaning, if you have been deeply heartbrokenly hurt, it is from that point that you can learn so much about yourself.
I see.
And you can make the deepest changes and the greatest changes to your life. But first and foremost, you have to stop and acknowledge the fact that you are in pain or you have been hurt.
Yeah.
Men are not good at expressing pain. We can
Right.
say it's socially, we can say it's language based, we can say it's that for the vast majority of human history, we've also had to be the killers,
Yeah.
which we still are asking men to do today.
Yeah.
So we may not have the same capacity to non-compartmentalize. We're very good at compartmentalizing. But when guys get to look down and take a deep breath and go, you know what? That thing's still fucking me up.
Yeah.
That divorce, that breakup, that time I've had abuse from my father, that guy who beat me up in 4th grade, that girl who broke my heart in 2nd grade.
Yeah.
Man, I'm still acting from that place.
Yeah.
It means the deepest potentials for you to change your life, for you to understand the spiritual path, for you to develop compassion, empathy, kindness. That all first stems from acknowledging your own deep, deep pain.
Yes.
I have yet to work with a single man who has not been in extraordinary pain.
Yeah.
And what I see when I look at the sea of men in the world is an epidemic
Yeah.
of unexpressed pain. And when I see men who are acting poorly, who are acting out, who are doing bad shit in the world, I see an epidemic of just throbbing wounds.
Yeah.
Throbbing wounds.
Yeah.
So this is really the call to men to begin to acknowledge and have a relationship with your pain. Ask it questions. Journal it, dialogue with it, express it to other people.
Yeah.
Right? Do the people closest to you in your life as a man, your spouse, your girlfriend, your parents, whoever it's appropriate, have you ever said like, God, I'm so fucking hurt about this thing?
Right.
Most men, that's a foreign sentence.
Right.
We speak anger.
Right.
That's the only external, that's the outlet.
Yeah.
It's like the only exit is anger. But anger, I love this cutesy quote, but it's so fucking true, is that anger is pain's bodyguard.
Yeah.
So I'll ask guys like, but what's underneath that anger? Like what else would you be if you were done being angry?
Right.
And they'll break down crying.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Like, fuck, bad shit happened to you.
Yeah.
Get it out. Fucking cry already.
Yeah.
Do it. Like we're goal-oriented creatures. We're super goal-oriented, except for in this emotional health realm.
Yeah.
It's like, what if we made emotional health competitive?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Like, all right, we're having a crying tournament this weekend. Someone's going to win, and that dude's going to be so fucking healthy for like the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And still we'd have trouble getting guys there. So it's create a relationship with your pain, acknowledge that you're in pain, and study this. Like, look at wounding. What does that mean? Most guys don't understand even that, what the concept is. Like, oh, his wound is actually what's driving that behavior. You know why you're jacking off to porn for 6 hours a day? It's not because you're that horny. It's not because you have a sex drive it's that high. It's because of loneliness.
Yeah.
It's because of despair. It's because of grief.
Yeah.
Right? I know guys that have come home from funerals and like jerked off for 4 hours.
Wow.
Like, were you like, just don't tell me you were fucking horny.
Right.
They're like, no, I wasn't horny. I was hurt.
Yeah.
And I needed to numb. And so that was the pathway of numbness that I chose.
Man, I didn't expect it to go there. Like, I mean, it's the crux of all growth, and it's the crux of moving on, right? Because one of my mentors has a thing where it's like, you are not the mistakes of your past, especially if your life has been run by your past for so long. Like, you're not the mistakes of your past, but you are the capabilities and resources that you've gleaned from your past. Like, that's such a game changer. And that's kind of the way I see this. Like, I imagine a lot of your clients are not like boys. Like, there's not a lot of like 8 to 12-year-olds on the Man Uncivilized group. These are grown ass men. They wouldn't get to that point without not one, but multiple traumas.
Yeah.
And they run by these traumas. Yeah.
Everybody. I mean, you could take a 15-year-old who's had the most traumatic upbringing of your life.
Sure.
You get a human to 30.
Yeah.
And most likely they've had breakups.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've lost out on goals. They've been
Yeah.
physically assaulted.
Yeah.
They've been in car accidents. They've had people around them die.
Yes.
They've experienced traumatic shit.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of this, or a part of this came from, I'm a huge Pema Chodron fan,
Mm-hmm.
the Buddhist nun. And I
Okay.
listened to her speak. She wrote When Things Fall Apart,
Yep.
and The Places That Scare You or Scare Us, one of the two. And I saw her speak publicly at UCLA, and this was maybe a month into my separation.
Oh.
And so I was just a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
And she sat on stage, a 72-year-old woman or 73-year-old woman, and said, at this stage of my life, I look back on the hardest times I had.
Yeah.
And I am so grateful for them.
100%.
They are the times I learned the most.
Yes.
And I burst out crying in the middle of the fucking amphitheater.
Man.
It was like, maybe I'm gonna learn so much from this. I'll be so grateful someday. I love you, Emma. And it's true,
Yeah.
right? It sucks when you're going through it. Like,
Sure.
I don't want to go through any of that shit again. But man, did it all change my life.
Yeah. I mean, I think I remember my deepest, probably my number one deepest, darkest moment. I remember even in the moment thinking in the back of my head, someday I'm going to look back on this and I'm going to be better for it.
Amen.
Right. But fucking right now,
Yeah.
I want to jump out a window. Like,
Amen.
Right now, this is fucking, I want to take some broken glass and just cut my face. Like, it was so bad.
It's so excruciating.
Yeah. But now it's like, I'm so much better for it. Like, and not only am I better for it, I wouldn't, if I could go back and do it all over again, I would not change it.
100%.
Like I would still want that, you know?
Same thing.
So,
And yet there are nights when you probably lie in bed and go, God, I hated that.
yeah.
And that's
It's like,
part of being,
yeah. Yeah.
maybe I would. You wouldn't. I know you. And I wouldn't either, because of the focus we have on growth and development.
Yeah.
And the weight we place on growth and development. And that was the whole gist of my TED talk was pain is fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Pain is fucking fuel.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with it?
Yes.
Like, just asking people that question was monumental for them. Like, what do you mean? What am I going to do with it? Like, yeah. What are you going to do with it?
Sure.
You going to let it bury you, or are you going to look at it like a gift?
Yeah.
Because if you look at it as fuel, you don't have to celebrate that bad shit's happening in your life.
Right.
But you get to go, fuck yeah, I'm going to roll my sleeves up as soon as I get done with the trauma portion of this. Yeah. And I'm going to get to work and I'm going to build something incredible.
Yeah.
And you said it in the beginning, men are builders.
Yeah.
Men are builders. And so I get guys in divorces and I'm like, what are you going to build out of this?
Mm-hmm.
I built a movement, built a company, built a book, built multiple TED Talks, built an entire new life out of it with all of that pain as fuel. And now I go, guess what? None of it's going to butt fuck me 20 years from now in the form of like a Coke addiction.
Sure.
Because I didn't use it all. It's all used up. It's all gone.
Awesome.
Done.
Awesome. Amazing. Amazing, bro. Okay. Number 6, practice presence and performance.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of like something you can just take on its face. Like approach life with simplicity and don't be distracted by the bright shiny objects.
Did you read the section I wrote on this?
No, I read the whole thing. The minute you said this to me, I read the freaking whole thing. Yeah, I read the whole thing like I think in 1 or 2 sittings. Yeah. But
so this was the mock Tinder date. You remember that?
Tell me
if we can find it. It's basically it's another little fuck you to the spiritual community.
Okay.
Not a fuck you.
No, I get it.
It's to how many times I've heard from women, like, I just want my man to be present. I just want my man to be present. Yeah. Right? And especially like, you know what's sexy? Being present. And so here, you want me to read it or can I read it?
I've got it right now. Yeah, go. You read it though.
Okay, sure. So the 6th tenet of the Uncivilized Ethos, cultivate presence and performance. Okay. The story. Can you feel that? I asked her as I removed my robe and move into a meditative position. Can you feel all of it? All of me? Feel what? She answers back. Me penetrating you. opening you, stretching both the swollen walls of your soul and driving through your gushing earthly limitations, all with the throbbing intensity of my sacred presence. I don't really feel anything but awkward, she said. Why are you just staring at me naked? Poor thing. She's so unevolved. This is the last time I bring home a non-vegan. Through heavy breaths, I preach, I'm ferociously Shiva-ing your Shakti. Fiercely bring my God to your goddess. Take it, you divine whore. It's big, isn't it? What are you talking about? You're not penetrating anything but my nerves. She gazes down, my flaccidity as proud and apparent as our new spiritual connection. Nor does it look like you could, she says. Ah, I whisper seductively while doubling the intensity of my eye contact. I've evolved beyond my erection. Instead, I'm ravishing you with my eyes. Breathe. I'm burying my gaze between the mounds of your devotion victoriously. Okay, none of that happened. Yeah. So it was like, I just got so sick of all we want from men is to have them present. And you're like, okay, cool. So I'm going to have a dude be present on the couch all day, every day, and see what happens with you. And no, it's saying to men, we're really good at performing. We're doers. We're out there fucking the world up in the best way and the worst way. But actually cultivate presence. Be okay with eye contact. Be on the date that you're on. I think I've told you that story of like interviewing a matchmaker. Yeah. I was like, hey, what's the one shit you hear about men right now in society dating? And she's like, they're not on the date that they're on. They're like 3 dates ahead, or literally guys. She's like, I've literally had guys swiping Tinder while on dates with the girl I've set them up with.
Jesus.
And it's like, be present, guys.
Yeah.
Presence is your superpower.
Yeah.
So we think like all I have to do is make money, build, do shit, hunt, fuck, kill, protect, yada, yada. And yes, and the greatest currency you will bring to any relationship, be that relationship a friendship with a man, a friendship with a woman, a romantic relationship with a man, a romantic relationship with a woman, is the currency of your presence.
Yeah.
And a hard cock.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I did, as you were reading as you were reading it, I did remember it. Yeah, because yes, I was like, yep, I got it now. Yeah, be present.
It's I'm not my body. Cool. Yeah. I'm not my boner. Sure. So let's just sit here and make love to each other with our eyes. See how often the modern female calls me and is like, yeah, maybe a little performance from now and then wouldn't hurt either.
Yeah, because I hate to admit it, dude. I'm addicted to my phone. I'm addicted to chocolate. And
that's okay.
Yeah, thank you. But and also too, if it wasn't for like, because my job pretty much demands that I'm in constant connection and contact with like everybody.
Yeah.
And part of my leadership style is to be open and consistently there. But there's been so many days where I dreamed of just like deactivating everything and just being alone, because when I'm in an interaction with somebody, it doesn't matter who they are. I'm like completely there. But then it's your mind, I find my mind drifting. It's like, fuck, I need to set this appointment, or I have to confirm this call, or I have to set this price, or I have to negotiate this deal. And it's like, no, dude, you just gotta stay there. Like it's not, the world isn't ending. No. If you miss that thing.
So for you, a practice is going to be, I love the three time rule practice. I don't know if you've heard this. It's I took it from Steve James, and he says like, he's like, I will feel the pull to check my phone. And so I won't do it the first time, and I'll go, okay, that was one. And then he'll say like 5 minutes later, he'll feel the pull. I got to text somebody, and he'll be like, okay, that was the second pull.
Right.
I still won't do it. The third time he goes, okay, there's something I need to do. I'll do it. And I'll set a timer, and I'll consciously spend 5 minutes on Instagram, 5 minutes texting, 5 minutes sending an email. And when that alarm goes off, I put my phone down and I get back to what I was doing.
Awesome.
And so that's just strengthening the muscle.
Yes.
That's putting this into a container. That's giving it structure, as opposed to just saying, I am at the whim of my phone whenever it beeps, blurps, or vibrates.
Right.
And so also, I'm really proud of you for using that word, that you are addicted to your phone.
Yeah.
right? That's a biggie. People are like, oh, no, 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 no. I'm like, really? What else do you carry into the bathroom with you?
Right.
Because you can't poop without it.
Yeah.
Right? Anything else in your house go with you in the bathroom? No.
Right.
Your phone goes with you.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
I'm not ashamed to admit it. Like I freely admit it. It's obviously something that I don't like, and I don't like that I'm addicted to it. So it is, and it is the thing that kind of is extremely distracting.
Yeah, set up some practices, man. Like set up some really basic structure for like, I never have my phone in the bathroom.
Yeah.
I think that's a great place just for men to start, because we'll go sit there and scroll. Like you don't need to look at Instagram while you're using the bathroom.
Right.
Right. Or perhaps I also won't do it when I cook a meal.
Mm-hmm.
Or even better, I love, when I lived in the ashram, there was no, both ashram and Esalen, they would cut the Wi-Fi during meal times.
Awesome.
And say to people like, nope, you actually can't do any, even if you're there and you're like, but I'm eating alone. They're like, sorry.
Awesome.
Too bad. So just, for anybody listening and for you too, bathroom, kitchen, meals, no phone. Start there. And that's just a little bit of health.
Yes.
On the scale.
I love it. Okay. Number 7, honor the men who came before you, the women who bore you, and the children who will inherit the earth.
Amen.
So I'm reading this as the basis of the responsibility of man, like the basis of logos, essentially, or man's. If I see life as a river that dances between past, present, and future, and how to best honor all three, that's how I'm reading this.
It's cultivate reverence.
Okay.
For the human experience, to understand that you didn't get here without people killing, dying, starving, growing, building. Like we didn't get here. We all got here on the sweat, blood, tears, anger, awfulness, amazingness, discoveries of the men and women who came before us. Honor your father, honor your mother, honor the people that sacrificed everything for you to be here.
Yeah.
And I mean, that could be 15 generations ago. For the guy that stayed up super late week after week after week, then was ridiculed and then created the light bulb.
Yes.
Like honor that man.
Gotcha.
Right? Honor every woman who's given birth to every person that you know. Every single one of us are here because of a woman.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
Period. Fucking period. So let's put a little reverence in there, and then have an understanding that there are kids who have to take over where we leave off.
Yeah.
That someday you will not be on this earth, but the earth will be in the state that we collectively leave it in.
Yes.
And if people could do that, men and women, but especially men, because we're not doing it.
Yeah.
We don't have the maternal instinct. We don't give birth to humans out of our bodies. And most of us have no connection to our past, or especially here in America, all traditions or most traditions have been eliminated, right? We don't have like a cultural rooting,
right?
That's like honoring the men. Like, now it's like, oh, Thanksgiving, they were all fucking murderers. Let's get rid of Thanksgiving, which may be true, but honor the men who came before you.
Yes.
Right. Honor the woman and the women who are bearing the brunt, the pain, the excruciating weight of giving birth to life. And man, the kids who are going to have to literally pick up where we leave off. Reverence, Zeb. That was the word. Reverence. It's like, this isn't just about us. It's just not about you. It's not just about me. This whole thing, maybe we can think a little bigger than ourselves.
100%. Yeah. I have nothing to add as far as that on that elaboration, but so one of my favorite books is called Gates of Fire by Stephen Pressfield. You know which book that is? Yeah, I've read it. Okay. So it's one of my favorite books ever. There's two main characters in there, two main dudes who I know I'm gonna fuck their names up because it's in Greek, but I'm gonna do my best. I think one of them is Dianekis, and then one of them was Polly something. I forgot but anyway. So Dianekis is like the regular, like a regular guy, but he's a Spartan soldier, a Spartan like man. He wasn't the best at anything. Like he wasn't like the gold medalist in whatever, but he had a wife that loved him, and the community respected him, and all the men followed him, and all the boys wanted to be him, right? And but he was just an honest, good dude. You could tell that he was a man because he made himself a man, and because he pretty much loved everybody and everything. Whereas the other guy kind of was like, he just kind of gloried in his own kind of talents and achievements. Everything was kind of about him, and he was very irreverent, I guess. Like there was no, and even irreverent is not the term. It's he followed the rules because that was the culture he was born into. But if he was in any other place, you can't say that he would have got himself to a place of goodness, and heart. Whereas with Dianekis, it was quite different. So that's how that's how I'm reading this as well. Where Dianekis is the embodiment of number 7.
Yeah.
Do you remember those characters?
I do. Yeah. It was been a long time since I've read that book.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is about reverence.
Yeah.
Reverence changes everything. From do I throw this in the trash or do I throw it in the street?
Right.
Right. Do I recycle? Do I not recycle?
Right.
Do I help the old man? Do I look at the old man sitting in the cafe as like washed up and a drain on society, or someone who's forged the way for me? Right? Do I look at women as people to fuck, or do I realize that they are the mothers of the earth, and will always be?
Right.
So it's respect isn't the right word. I keep just going back to reverence takes in the bigger picture.
Yes.
Of how this whole human thing works and how it can work better.
Yeah, I was going to propose gratitude, but I feel like now gratitude is a little too secular of a word. I think reverence encompasses the divine and the primal as far as your like spiritual giving to the human condition.
Yeah, reverence has awe in it.
Yes.
Right? Like be in awe that you get to live the life you get to live now.
Yes.
And be in awe of the fact too that someone else has to pick up where we leave off.
I love it.
Thanks, man.
Okay, I feel like number 8 is the practical strategy on how to accomplish number 6. So number 6 is practice persistence and performance, because practice presence and performance, because presence itself is not enough. How do you practice performance? Have full access to your head, heart, and balls. So
it's the complete man.
Okay.
Right. So most men live from the neck up, Monday through Friday.
Yep.
From the waist down, Friday night through Saturday night, and in the middle, not at all.
Yes.
And so when I get guys come to me, oftentimes I can tell that they're stuck either upstairs or downstairs.
Yeah.
Like they're thinkers, overthinkers, hyperthinkers.
Right.
Yet they can't do it. They're not doing anything in the world.
Yeah.
By balls, I mean like go fucking do some shit in the world.
Yeah.
Go hike, go hunt, go lift, go penetrate the world with your gifts. We use that word, like penetrate the world with your gifts. Fucking ejaculate your mission onto the womb of the earth. Right? Like do something with your balls.
Yeah.
Think, be a thinker, read, figure shit out, strategize, think ahead, plan. Right. And then the one in the middle is where guys are so often lost of what is this concept of my heart?
Yeah.
Of actually have a relationship with the space in your chest, with your feelings,
right,
with your emotions.
Right.
Cultivate an understanding of emotion beyond angry and horny.
Yeah.
Cultivate the idea that like, I'm sad.
Yeah.
I have grief right now.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated.
Right.
I'm devastated. Like I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Have language around this so that you know what you're experiencing, because the human experience actually happens from your belly button to your collarbone.
Yeah.
That's where it all happens.
Yeah.
Then we analyze it above and we shut everything off and we hump like rabbits below.
Right.
So it's have access to all three. Know when it's appropriate.
Yeah.
Like when I sit down to balance my P&L.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a hand on my balls and a hand on my heart, and I'm not weeping and like trying to do shit. I'm thinking.
Right.
Right. And when I'm looking and forecasting, like what's the possibility of the uncivilized movement? Man, where could that go? What could I do? That's all balls.
Yeah.
I'm not like, if my head got in there, I'd be like, do you know how many problems that's going to be? You know how many unanswered emails that's going to be? You know how much shit you have to learn? Boom. And yet when I think of humanity, I think of how do I want to live and walk on this earth and interact, and what do I want the effect of my life to have been? That's all my heart.
Yeah.
How do I love? How do I have relationship with family, with friends, with with humanity, with animals? It's, man, cultivate a sense of compassion, of
Yes.
empathy, of kindness, of responsibility, because you can feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anger that runs through a man's heart is absolutely beautiful.
Mm.
It's strong, it's protective, right? A father protecting his children is balls at heart.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
A guy getting in a fist fight on 2:00 in the morning on State Street, all balls.
Mm-hmm.
A guy
Gotcha.
who's just logicking his girlfriend, like, you know why you shouldn't feel this way? Because these 5 reasons, then this and this and this, all head. There's no connection there.
I'm guilty of that too.
So I
Sometimes.
want we all have a proclivity of where we go to, and it's because feeling shit's hard.
Yeah.
And feeling shit means we have to accept things we don't want to accept.
Yeah.
Man, I might have hurt somebody.
Right.
Or I have to admit I'm hurt right now too. Or, man, I really like this person.
Mm-hmm.
I may be falling in love with this person. God, if I felt all that I felt, Seb, I just got off the phone. This is a super tangent. With a guy who runs an anti-sex trafficking organization, one of the largest ones. Let's name it. It's called Unseen.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just telling me stories and statistics. And I was like, I need to shut my heart down right now.
Right.
Or else I'm either going to fall on the floor and just cry for the next 36 hours.
Right.
Or go get a shotgun and go on Craigslist and put an ad up that says, like, I have an 8-year-old girl, you can fuck her. And then open the door and just blast people.
Right.
So I think a lot of times men also shut their hearts off, because if we looked at the state of the world and how much suffering exists, and we were honest about it and we felt it, not just honest about it, but we actually viscerally felt the pain of the world, we would shut down.
Yeah.
So, but the uncivilized man, a man who is high level, knows how he can flow between all 3 of these and how he can combine them.
Gotcha.
That makes him fucking powerful.
Gotcha.
And
no, I love it. Yeah, because I remember you telling me this story once of you. I think you were on the airplane and you sat next to 2 stockbrokers. And then it's like they were 2. Because I think I remember asking you once: is there such a thing as like 2 primal or 2?
Yeah.
And so that was the first thing I thought when I read this. But now, it's true. You do need all 3. Even if you have 2 and you don't have 1,
you're in trouble.
Yeah. You still need all 3.
You need all 3. You need all 3 to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
We'll use successful. I've used success. I want men to be successful across every domain.
Right.
And to me, a man who is powerful and successful across every domain is untouchable.
Yes.
By society.
Yeah.
He is a man who is literally forging his way in the world.
Mm-hmm.
A man who is not seeking out simple pleasure of, like, I just need a drink tonight. I can't handle it. I need to fuck this girl because she's so hot.
Right.
I need to do X. I need to blah, blah, blah. He's not living in any kind of scarcity.
Yes.
It's a man who truly is affecting the world, not being affected by it.
Yes.
And we need more men like that. We need men who are alive.
Yeah.
Who are absolutely, like, men listening to this, we need you to come the fuck alive.
Yeah.
To get engaged, to get present, to get active, to get excited, to get curious, and to get out there and start doing shit.
Awesome. 100%. Can't add to that. Number 9. So I actually like number 9 almost as much as I like number 3. Number 9 lives by the rule. There are no rules, but there is karma and responsibility.
Yeah.
I love this one so much. And it's so funny to me because you've seen Kill Bill, right?
Yeah.
When he pretty much calls out Clark Kent / Superman, when I know this is not your thing. Like, I know, like, nerd stuff is your thing, but just bear with me. Quentin Tarantino does an analysis on Clark Kent Superman and how Superman, when he's Superman, says to Lois, I never lie. right? Like I don't. He's always honest. But then Quentin calls him out because as Clark Kent, you were telling the biggest lie of all.
Yeah.
So here, live by the rule in that there are no rules, but there is karma and responsibility. And yet I'm looking at 12. Like I'm looking at 12. So, and no, too, because one of my mentors is also Rich Marcinko, where his last rule is there. Always remember that there are no rules. And so I'm looking at this as the dance between there's this natural and necessary tension and dance between the only constant in life is change, and the more things change, the more they stay the same. And I think in practical matters, there are timeless fundamental principles that will always be true and will have always been true, no matter what. And also, as in participating in history and in participating in civilization and creation, humans innovate and humans grow and humans develop new things that make life better and things that change the game. But then at the same time, as you watch humans play within these games and within these new things, human nature is human nature. And so that's what I mean in that there's this tension. And so on the one hand, everyone needs rules. Like men need codes and humans need rules in order to live. And at the same time, in order to grow, they're truly, God bless you, there are no rules, because the rules are rewritten all the time.
All the time.
And it's either you're going to rewrite them or they're going to be rewritten for you, and you're going to either play or you have to do it. So it's this constant dance. However, just within the sentence alone, the things that are always true and will always been true and have always been true is the idea of karma and responsibility. Even across different disciplines. Like I see karma as the Eastern expression of the second law of thermodynamics, where energy can only be it can neither be created nor destroyed, only transferred, something like that. Or the one of Newton's, I think, where every force has an equal, or every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Definitely. Like if that's not karma, if that's not the Western expression of karma, I don't know what the fuck it is, right?
100% is.
And so what's that?
I said, I believe you. It's 100% is.
Yeah. And then, responsibility, obviously responsibility is huge. Like if anything, responsibility is the one thing that separates man from boy.
Definitely.
And so, but yeah, I think that's why I love this so much, because if men are in trouble and they need direction and they've been living without direction, I think if they only did, the whole list is amazing, but if they only did 3 and 9, I think they'll be, it's like a good place to start, right? Like imagine if they just did that. So
I'm going to put asterisks by those, and then at the bottom, so like approved by the Pasquale Project.
But can you, so because I love this one so much, it's so profound, and it cuts
I'll
so
elaborate on it.
Yeah, please.
I love this question, Zeb. Says who? Right? So guys are like, I can't do blah, blah, blah. I'm like, says who? I can't start a business in the Caribbean. Says who? The Business and Caribbean Police? Right? So I look at this as whatever it is you want to do in this world, whatever you want to do with this one sweet life you've been given, you can do it with very few exceptions. And those exceptions are usually physical limitations. I will not be the starting center for the Los Angeles Lakers next year.
Right. Like I want to fly.
There's a couple things that we got to put in here.
Right.
But other than that, there is nothing that says you can't be successful, you can't be happy, you can't be healed, you can't be X, you can't be Y. There are no fucking rules.
Right.
There are vast collective agreements.
Yes.
That I don't live by, that you don't live by.
Right.
Right? And so we ask people all the time, says who?
Right.
And I will you get arrested for that if you move to the Caribbean? And what's going to happen? I get it. There are some constraints around life.
Yes.
But most people live by rules that are non-existent.
Yes.
And they said it's just a story they tell themselves. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm not rich enough. I don't have enough information. I'm too X. I'm too Y. They just say over and over and over. And remember, there are no fucking rules. Again, if you want to, I tell guys, every morning I listen to an audio recording of my own voice outlining the vision for Man Uncivilized. Every morning I lie in bed and do that.
Awesome.
Why? Because why not?
Yeah.
There's no rule that says I can't do that.
Yeah.
Right? I reach out to random people on Instagram who I look up to and say, hey, would you mind having a phone call with me?
Awesome.
And 80% of the time they're like, sure.
Awesome.
And I tell people, do this. Reach out to random people on Instagram who you respect and ask them nicely if they'll have a half-hour conversation with me. And they go, I can't do that.
Wow.
I say, says who?
Yeah.
Or why not? Well, I don't want them to think, you just said can't.
Mm-hmm.
Not you won't, but you can't. So again, if we took the ceiling off of most limitations and said, what if you could? Right? Has anybody else out there in the world done what you want to do? If so, it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
If not, maybe you're supposed to be the first.
Yeah.
So get fucking busy.
Yeah.
Get building. Get doing. And now let's temper that. That if you walk out on your wife and kids to go be a surf bum in Hawaii, you can do that. Yeah. There's no rule saying you can't do that. But you are going to bring on some karma and some responsibility that will come back and bite you in the ass.
Yes.
Or it may not bite you in the ass, but there will be a downstream after effect of those actions.
Yes.
So this isn't a carte blanche, be careless.
Right.
This is do the thing you're here to do.
Yes.
Search for the thing that you're here to do if you don't know what it is. Express yourself 100%, especially now. You know this more than anybody. If you have a cell phone and a computer, you can run a business from anywhere in the world.
100%. Yeah, for sure.
If you want to seek out teachers in any single discipline in the fucking world, you can find them on the internet.
Yep.
So there's never before has there been more access to humans or more access to information ever.
No, ever.
So you can do this thing you want to do.
Yes.
Now, just please understand that every action has a reaction.
Yes.
So don't be a dick.
Right.
That we could also put that one. There are no rules. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, that's karma. Yeah, that's part of karma. That's part of karma. Yeah.
But really,
this is at no point did I read.
Go ahead.
Yeah, at no point did I read this as a call to anarchy.
No.
At no point did I read this as the French Revolution Part 2. This is very much this is to address the prisons that especially men keep themselves in, that were appropriate when they were like 6, but are not appropriate when they're 35.
Exactly. And it's not just the doings in the world. I'll have guys who be like, well, I can never get married again.
Yeah.
Like, why not?
Yeah.
Because my wife walked out on me. Like, so did mine.
Right.
Who says that? So where show me the international rule for marriage guidebook that says if once will always happen again. There are no rules. Question. It really is a call also to question.
Yes.
Like, question yourself. Why aren't you doing it?
Yes.
Is that story true? Is it provable? Is it truth? Okay. If not, there are no rules. Get to fucking work. You there?
Okay, I lost you. I lost you for is it true is where I lost you.
Okay, so I said is it true? Is it provable?
Okay.
If it's not, right? That's how I question people's limiting stories.
Yeah.
Like, I'm too old to start a business. Is that true?
Bullshit.
Is it true? Like, can I find anybody in the world older than you who started a business? Right. Okay, then it's not true.
Right.
And if it is true, is it provable?
Yeah.
Is it actually provable that this statement that you're using as a belief system to not do the thing you want to do, to not make the change you want to make, to live in a world that's much wider, broader, and grander in scope than what you currently are?
Right.
You better be able to fucking prove that to me empirically.
Sure.
Or I will hunt down your shit ass excuses and bury them in the ground and say, get to work.
Yep.
Get building.
Yep.
Again, we could finish each one of these with get to work.
Yeah.
Do some shit. Make your life better. Right? Be relentless in the pursuit of this vision of the way you want to live your life.
Yes.
Period. I don't give a fuck what people are doing in other countries right now. And maybe that's myopic and selfish. I don't think I have control over what's happening in the Middle East.
Yes.
You know what I do have control over? What's happening in my house in Colorado.
Right.
With the people that on my tribe, the people following me, the people who are on my Zoom calls and on my coaching calls and reading my book and reading my work. I have control over them. I have control over my life.
Yeah.
Do I want to go learn how to climb mountains? I'm sorry, I'm gonna get off on a
No, do it.
fucking soapbox.
Yeah.
Just relentless pursuit of your vision, guys.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a vision, relentless pursuit of the creation of a vision.
Yeah.
What do you want your life to look like?
Yeah.
Then go make it like that. Here's the thing. No one is going to come do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to give you the body you want. No
Mm-hmm.
one's going to give you the finances of the business you want. No
Mm-hmm.
one's going to give you the relationship you want. You've got to you've got to become an active participant in your own vision crafting.
Yep.
So many men, I don't like the word, but God, we're so fucking lazy these days.
Yeah.
It's like, well, why doesn't that guy on Instagram who has $1 million business? Oh, I just want his. You don't see the 6 years that he was doing webinars for 2 people.
Right.
You don't see the hours he spent at night. You don't see the relationship courses he took. You don't see the salsa lessons he took. And that's where he met the girl who you really want to date.
Yeah.
Get busy.
Yep.
Get organized. Get after shit. Do stuff.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah. 100%, man. Like, it's funny how you said we should end each one of these with get to work.
Yeah.
Because you've read the Book of Five Rings by Musashi, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know how, like, if you read that book, every single after almost every passage, he goes, "This must be given careful consideration," or this must be meditated on thoroughly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
don't meditate on it. Fucking do it.
just do it. Yeah, just do it. No, I love it. Number 9. Okay, number 10. Love fiercely, openly, and without reservation. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna claim some guilt on this because I'm very much heavy offense and no defense, like in life in general.
Uh-huh.
And so what that means is that I have huge wins, like huge Olympian level wins, and then huge crashes and burns, like big. So
good.
And it's no, it's great. Like life is like that. And,
Good.
yeah, I kind of good. Like, I see a life like this as, I've said it so many times before, but I see life that's like this as the perpetual gray death, or the perpetual living death.
Amen.
And so, like, life is. But that being said, because I've spent the last several years now trying to inculcate the mindset of entrepreneurship and sales and business and all that, just because that's my weakest area.
Yeah.
But so one of the things that are common, and I think the story of my 2018 is finally how to win, essentially how to succeed wildly and fail elegantly, or like how to get huge upside but not a little downside, where the wins are huge but also each loss shouldn't cost you the benefits of the win. Like that's kind of an alien concept to me up until I think a few days ago. Okay. So here I would love to have your take on essentially this sentence: love fiercely, openly, and without reservation, and how to not go off the reservation.
Great call.
And how to put yourself out there, and how to not like mess that up to the point where like you'll push people away, or you'll lead it into a place where it doesn't have to be, kind of thing. You know, right. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I'm not talking about codependence here.
Sure. Okay.
I'm talking about for most men, we'll say most men, whether they love women or they love other men. Yeah. I don't give a fuck. Go right. Be amazing.
Sure.
But love fiercely, like be willing to love.
Yeah.
Be willing to say, boom, I'm going to rip my heart open or my chest open right now and show you all of me. And guess what? That comes with the price of someday getting that same heart broken. Yeah. Either by the end of this relationship or one of us dying. Yeah. It's inevitable. There is no, like, maybe you guys both die on the same day. Maybe you become sick of the relationship on the same day and you mutually decide to break up. And that never really seems to happen. So be willing to step into the arena of love with the same warrior attitude that you step into every other arena. Be willing to step into the relationship arena and be like, I'm not just going to be one of those dudes who just fucks one-offs on Tinder and says like, yeah, I don't really need love. I'm not going to, God bless MGTOW. I just don't think that's the way I want to live my life, or other men should live their lives, which is women are the enemy. Relationship is the enemy. Relationship is designed to take your shit. Like, sure, have a prenup, live fucking fiercely, love fiercely, be willing to step into that arena, Zeb. Like most guys put more effort into their fantasy football than they do into their relationships.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about like, sure, we go to the museum so she shuts the fuck up.
Sure.
I'm talking about like, do you love this woman?
Right.
Do you love this man?
Right.
Do you love this person? Are you willing to go down the pathway of love all the while knowing you are going to get your ass handed to you at some point, and yet you do it anyway?
Yeah.
I have no apology for how I loved my ex-wife.
Yeah.
Despite all the shit that happened, all the trauma of that divorce, all of the awfulness, all of the conversations you had to listen to, all of the months on the bathroom floor crying,
Right.
all of the tears, all of it. I don't regret it.
Yeah.
Because I know I went, fuck it. I took the gloves off. I got
Yeah.
in there. And for maybe the first time, not the first time in my life, but maybe one of 3 times where I was like, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going all fucking in.
Mm-hmm.
And not for business.
Yeah.
Not for, you know what? If CrossFit Pacific Coast fails, it'll kill me. I'm going all in.
Right.
I'm like,
Right.
nope, I'm going all in with this person.
Yes.
Because I'm willing to take that risk.
Yeah.
I know inherently, just like you said, there's going to be mountaintops.
Yep.
And there's going to be valleys.
Yeah.
And I can mitigate that by staying somewhere in the middle and being 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Right.
And go, sure, I'll just have warm vanilla love.
Right.
And, you know, sex with the fucking lights off, missionary with her shirt on.
Yeah.
No. I want fierceness. I want ferocity. I want that woman to know. I want every man listening to this for their woman to be like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
I just got thrown against, with consent,
thrown
against a wall and fucked violently, and he never touched me. That's how I feel just around his heart.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yep.
Like, that's what I'm after with love fiercely.
Gotcha.
Love openly.
Sure.
Right? Just use the L word. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be scared of it.
Right.
It's good. You're going to get fucked up in this game. It's not our arena.
Yeah.
But do it anyway.
Gotcha. Love it, man. Love you too.
Thanks, man. Love you too.
Okay. Number 11. Know that love without strength leads to victimhood, and strength without love leads to tyranny. You know, when I read this, I had to read it several times, even though I say something extremely similar in other things.
Yeah.
But then when I read the elaboration in the book, it was like 2 sentences, or it was so like the elaboration in the book was less words, I think, than the actual. So, but it's true. Like because I know you have met and I have met, and maybe I've been this person too in my boyhood. Like if you love, but if you're not strong on the inside, if you just love, you're just a victim. Like you're just a poor me, entitled. Like how come, so that's not, and there's nothing attractive about that. There's no amount of weakness that's going to make somebody love you more.
To endear you to somebody. No.
Exactly right. Yeah. It's not the jam. And so that's like another reason why strength is important. And then also the reverse is true. I know I've had moments like this where I'm super strong, but I'm like dead or empty or heartbroken on the inside, and I love nothing. Mm-hmm. And I didn't like who I was. You know what I mean?
That was such a factual statement.
What?
I love nothing.
Yeah, I could say it's happened. Like I know
I did not love white people.
Because if you've been heartbroken before, because like you said, everyone that's part of the human experience. Yeah. And I remember the first time it happened, and I didn't know who I was. Like I didn't know, because you're a passionate guy. I'm a passionate guy. It feels like a furnace, right? It's like a furnace on the inside. Yeah. And that it's you have no worry or want of this furnace producing your creative energies and your motivation and your ability to influence others. The furnace produces this, but once in a while something will happen and the furnace is gone. Like the furnace has stopped and there's nothing on the inside. It's like cold. And that's happened maybe 2 or 3 times in my whole life, where I love nothing, and I not only do I love nothing, but I feel nothing. Yeah. And I was a tyrant, Trav. Like it was this, like there was only command and there was only execution. Yep. And there was no, I'm not going to say that I was like a sociopath or anything, because that wouldn't be true either. Right. But I was just like numb. I was just this numb thing. Yeah. you know. And so I mean, that's when I had to I read it over and over again, and I had to think about it. And then I read the like 2-sentence elaboration on the thing. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is where it's coming from. But so in your own words, can you elaborate on this one?
Sure. So this actually got changed a little bit so it made sense for an ethos, but
Yes.
it was my old saying of show me love without strength and I'll show you a victim. Show me strength without
Yeah.
love and I'll show you a tyrant. And so
Yes.
exactly what you said of we need the primal and the divine. I can't
Yes.
go back to that over and over and over and over. And that it really is it, right? And then when we do have just wide openness with no backbone, with no boundaries, with no sense of self, with no sense of preservation, it sounds like this, you said it earlier, this glorious utopian way to live.
Right.
Unless you live in LA where you're just going to get shot.
Yes.
Unless you live in New York where you're going to get robbed.
Right. Right.
Right? Like it's the people that ride their bikes through ISIS territory and get killed.
Yes.
They're like,
Jesus
okay,
Christ. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
sure.
Right.
Maybe that will be how the earth evolves in 100 years, 200 years, 300 years. I don't know. We are a warring species right now.
Yeah.
We are. And we will always have the outlier sociopath, psychopath.
Yes.
Right? We don't get to all leave our doors open because there may be one guy who's going to come in and fucking rape, steal, and kill. So we all have to shut them. But that's just the reality we live in.
Yes.
Same thing if, show me strength without love. Again, you have someone, we see this in world leaders. We've seen this in world leaders.
Yeah.
That was Hitler.
Yeah.
Right? That was Mussolini. That is like just strength, power, but no heart.
Right.
And what do you do with it?
Right.
You crush people. Pol Pot. You just you devastate. Lenin, Stalin. Like we've seen it.
Yeah.
And I know people that way too who are so hurt that they've shut off connection to their heart.
Yeah.
And they become tyrants. They become abusers. They become predators.
Right.
They become people who do just hurt indiscriminately.
Yeah.
So this is it is a quick one. It's why I wrote, in the subtext of like, this is kind of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like read it again. And
yeah. No, yeah, it's true.
yeah. Show me love without strength. I show you a victim. Show me strength without love. I'll show you a tyrant.
100%. Cool. And what I love about this too, this is not just true of individuals, but also of communities and nations. So, okay, final one. And I feel like the final one to be successful in life is to be consistent with the right habits, right? And since this is for men, I feel like this is the one that speaks most to consistency, but also the one that can be most easily misconstrued by men, especially young men. So number 12 is fight hurt. Yep. So I know what you're saying here.
Yeah.
As far as what this means, but I also know you were 18 once and 23 once. I was 18 and 23 once.
Yep.
And so there is I'm going to make an attempt to elaborate, and then I'll ask you. So like fighting hurt just means that don't be crippled by the first failure, or because there's going to be a lot of them. Probably and if you do it right, you're going to fail more than you win, to be honest. And that doesn't mean you have to keep going no matter what, essentially. Like there's always a way to keep going as long as you're alive. Like there's always a way to keep going. Why? Because the brain always works, and you only death, and even after death can your brain stop. And so if you're hurt in something, there's still something that you can do. It doesn't mean continue doing the thing. Like I just hurt I have plantar fasciitis right now. I hurt my foot on a 12-mile race.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, it's all good. So at mile 6, I had to stop, and my whole left leg was useless. But I didn't stop. I didn't go the next day. I think I took off, but I think I took 1 or 2 days off, and I came back to the gym, and I'm still training. I'm just doing other stuff. Like I'm not. I'm still fighting hurt.
Yeah.
Like there's other things I've wanted to do always, like classic gymnastic routines and ring stuff, and so. But
I think I saw a video of you doing muscle ups with a weight vest.
Oh yeah. Because I have to like up the game.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was so cool. I've actually, I don't think I've ever done it before. So, they have to challenge yourself. But that's how I read fight hurt, because life is going to knock you down.
Yeah.
And you're going to be hurt, and you're going to be hurt probably in more ways than one, and at the same time as you've experienced.
Yeah.
And you have to keep going. So that's how I read that. Okay. So from your own mouth, could you elaborate?
This came from a piece I read from Stephen Pressfield when he talked about playing hurt and how he was going through just some extraordinary experiences and still producing good writing. Oh. And I read it and thought back to every time I fought, professionally, I had a major injury at the
Yes.
time. And was that the thing to do intelligently? Perhaps not. But it was the decision that I made that I wasn't going to let external circumstances, because there will always be external circumstances, I wouldn't let them deter me from seeking this goal.
Right.
So I did what I had to do, and maybe
Got
those
it.
situations are extreme, but you also touched on it that like I wrote a book in the middle of a divorce.
Right.
I built a men's movement in the middle of the aftermath of a divorce. I did the Year to Live project in the midst of hell.
Yeah.
Right. And every one of those things I could have said, I'll wait until all the circumstances of my life come together and I have that magical day that I'm not hurt, I'm not injured, I'm not sick, I have money in the bank, I haven't just taken a big shot to the face, and I'll do the things then.
Right.
And it's more of a call to action for guys to go, there is going to be no good day.
Right.
Right. Like every fighter I knew fought hurt.
Yeah.
Because when you're training at that level, something's fucking hurt all the time. All the time. No one walks into that cage without some kind of injury. Right. And yet they still manage to do it.
Yeah.
So it was really about adopting that mindset of I'm going to do life with a couple injuries.
Gotcha.
It doesn't mean I'm going to be an idiot. It doesn't mean I'm not going to rehab. It doesn't mean I'm not going to do exactly what you said and you did, which is adjust my training.
Yes.
Or adjust the thing that I'm going to go do in the world.
Yeah.
Right. Pressfield talks about like being so ill. He can't even, and he doesn't tell what it is. He's like, I couldn't even wear pants.
Jesus.
And I had to write standing up.
Right.
But I still wrote.
Right.
Right. And so that was the call to me of like, okay, how many guys are going through hell right now? Be it at home, be it at work, be it in their personal life, be it illness. And yet how many people, I won't even say guys, how many people, and yet they're still out there doing that thing.
Right.
Right. I watched this amazing, is it Chef's Table? Like one of those shows where they have like geniuses that are chefs.
On
like,
Netflix?
Yeah. Like
great
the
show.
cream of the crop.
Yes. Great show.
And this dude is going to get chemo during the day.
Yeah.
And he has no taste buds from getting throat cancer. And yet at night, he's working in a restaurant.
Yes. Insane.
Right? He's fighting hurt.
Right.
He could have said, you know what? I'm taking 2 years off.
Right.
And I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Right? We can go example after you with your kidney.
Yeah.
Right? Think of all the shit all the permission that gives you to not do stuff.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh yeah, look at you. He can't do that. He's got a bad kidney. Instead, you're like, nope, I'm just going to actually crush life every day.
Yes. Yeah.
You're fighting hurt every single day.
Yeah.
Even if you're not hurt. And so really it's that kind of a call to action to guys to say, dispel the myth of the day when shit doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Right? Or the weeks that you'll hopefully do it in a row. There will always be adversity.
Yes.
I believe in that concept of resistance, that the bigger your goal, the larger the opposing force that's working against you. That actually exists in the world.
It's true. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's 100% true. I think that's literally why every time I fought, I had a broken neck, I had a torn ACL, I had broken ribs. It was like, okay, something's fucked up.
Yes.
What are you going to do? You're going to quit? Or are you going to get in there and win anyway?
Right.
And then have an intelligent recovery plan afterwards, or get support.
Yeah.
Ask people for help, but we don't back off. We don't give up on this thing that we're trying to do in the world because of physical pain or adversity.
Yes.
And adopt that mindset. That's really it, Zeb. It's like adopt the aggressive mindset of like, you know, the term gameness?
No.
Gameness is a term that fighting dogs have.
Okay.
So it's this idea that like a certain type of dog will get it. And I think dog fighting's abhorrent. Let me just say that. They and pedophiles should be shot in the dick.
Yep. Gotcha.
And now moving on. What can we learn from them?
Right.
There's certain dogs that will get their fucking asses handed to them and walk back out to the middle of the ring and be like, bring it on.
Yes. Yes.
That to me, I want guys to adopt gameness.
Gotcha.
Like, oh yeah. It's in Pressfield even says it, like wife walks out, right anyway.
Yes.
Kids are sick, build your fucking empire,
Yeah.
right? Broken leg,
Yeah.
do bench press.
Yes. Yeah.
Find ways to stay in the game and stay in the fight, because if you do that, you immediately separate yourself from 98% of the humans walking the planet. And right now, unfortunately, because guys are so soft,
Yeah.
98% of men, especially, who are just like,
Right.
everything wasn't handed to me.
Right.
No, go get dirty, go
Yeah.
get hurt.
Yeah. And yeah, the space is not crowded.
No, sir.
Like we need more.
Yeah, the space is not crowded.
like with the chef guy, and as you were talking about it, I was reminded of Beethoven, because who fought hurt as well, because he went deaf.
That's right.
And he needed to put his like fingers on metal things to feel the vibrations of the notes that he was playing, which is crazy.
Insane, huh?
Insane, dude. And he produces some of the greatest works ever to go down in the history of music.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been told multiple.
Hurt.
Yeah, I fought hurt. I've been told multiple times that I could because of my transplant, I could go pick up a disability card and park in disability spots. Like, why would I do that?
Right.
It makes no sense to me.
No.
And I don't, if people have been keeping up with my stuff lately, I just recently met a group of people who are double lung transplant recipients.
Yeah, I saw that.
Dude,
holy
number
shit.
one, I didn't even know that existed. And I've been you know what I mean? I've been a transplant patient for coming on 14 years. I never knew that existed. And then when I met them, so I'm looking at them and they're having conversations with me, and I can tell that they have gone through some shit, but I'm picturing it in my head as I'm talking to them. Like somebody went in and ripped their fucking either their ribs or their sternum apart so they can take out their lungs.
Yeah.
Keep them alive artificially with enough time to replace them with somebody else's lungs. And then put their shit back together again.
Like, are you not in awe of the human experience, people listening to this?
Dude, this is, I mean, it's every time I train them, it's almost like I was in tears almost just talking to them, because I'm watching them put out. At no point was there was no like, because dude, I have so many people, and this is not a rip on my regular clients, because they inspire me every day, but there was no like, oh, my job, or I don't feel good, or some other, but like I just didn't feel like it, or I'm too busy, or my boss kept me, or I got promoted, or I didn't get promoted, or the sun's not high enough. Like there's all these weird things and these people are coming, like they're showing up, and there's not 1 ounce of self-pity, like, oh, my life sucks, or oh, nothing was handed to me. Like shit, like the fact that they are alive and able to do, they didn't even know that they could do something. And I treated them so, I tried to baby them, but also be their keeper, right? So basically I gave them warm-ups, and I'm like watching them so carefully, because on the inside I'm fucking so scared. Like I'm like, I didn't want them to, I didn't want them to like freaking keel over or something like that, or like something, or like cause a rupture in one of their lungs or whatever. But just giving them your and my default warm-up. Like if we were to come in, it's like, hey, let's row a K and do just like basic shoulder and hip stuff.
Yeah.
That would have killed them. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like at the end of it, they're literally breathing heavy and their eyes are wide open, like as if they've never breathed hard in their life before.
Wow.
After just a regular warm-up, but their gameness is on. Their gameness is like Rocky Balboa level crazy 10.
Put me back in, coach. Huh?
Yes, dude. It was insane. And so I have them twice a week, and they started off with 5, and now there's only 1. And the reason why is because I'm not going to mention their names, but it's like one of them got freaking pericardial effusion. Another one, his eye stopped working and started going all twitchy. So he had like, something palsy. And another one, he had acute rejection. So there's all these, like the excuses are, I would say, valid. Like, it's like, hey, I can't. Yeah. And they have this group text where they pretty much just, they cheer each other on. It's like, hey, I can't make it because I'm fucking in the hospital. And I'm just like, shit, And then another one like came for 2 weeks more than he should have. And he's like, hey, something's wrong. So he goes in, and it turns out that he has like idiopathic freaking eyeball palsy or whatever. And I'm just like, damn, dude, so that is, they are fighting hurt. And,
oh yeah, they are.
Yeah. And like the one who's left, she just had her shit done 4 months ago. Wow. Like fucking, isn't that insane? Like
insane, man.
I can't even I can't wrap my eyes. So this is why, as I'm talking to them, the fact that they had done it in the first place, the fact that they're still alive, and the fact that they're putting out without a sense of self-preservation or like without no sense of pity. Like if that doesn't get you, if you're not choked up by that,
Yeah.
as if you're thinking about that, like there's something wrong, because and I bring in helpers too to help me, because my foot, I'm limping around because I can't use my foot and I can't demo stuff.
Right.
So I bring in friends to help me demo stuff, and they're freaking almost in tears too.
Yeah.
Because it's insane. So yeah, if you thought I had no excuse before, like
Right.
just thinking about this too. So, but yeah, man, it's so true. And plus, if you compound 100% per day, but then if you stop for one day, you have to start over at zero again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Yep.
but yeah, that's Fight Hurt. But
Fight Hurt. That's all 12.
dude, so okay, so let's go through it again. So for meant for men, but also women will appreciate it too, because women have to deal with men.
Exactly.
So number 1, be unapologetically male.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, be your brother's keeper. 3, be dangerous, but not a danger.
Mm-hmm.
4, make still the mind, make savage the body. 5, know your deepest gifts grow in the garden of your wounds. 6, practice presence and performance. 7, honor the men who came before you, the women who bore you, and the children who will inherit the earth. 8, have full access to your head, heart, and balls. 9, live by the rule, there are no rules, but there is karma and responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
10, love fiercely, openly, and without reservation.
Amen.
11, know that love without strength leads to victimhood, and strength without love leads to tyranny. And 12, fight hurt, baby.
Fuck yeah.
Awesome.
The Uncivilized Ethos.
Uncivilized Ethos. I love it so much. I know we've been on for a while, but do you have a few minutes to just like
Sure.
catch up? So you recently moved to Denver.
To Golden.
Golden. Okay. So Golden, Colorado.
15 minutes outside of Denver.
Got it. Okay. So you were in New York before.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you move away from New York, and why Golden?
I wanted to live somewhere, Zeb. So here is my vision.
Yeah.
Right. The thing that I am relentlessly pursuing is having a physical space.
Yeah.
A 10-acre chunk of land where I can build a facility that I can live on, that has a training and gathering facility for both men and women, but for me to teach out of, for me to bring groups of men, especially together on and say, hey, here's what we're doing this weekend.
Yeah.
We're learning how to fight. We're learning how to defend ourselves. We're learning how to throw weight around.
Mm-hmm.
And we're learning how to meditate. We're learning how to communicate. We're learning how to be in relationship with women. We're learning how to hold space. We're learning how to live by this ethos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm teaching this place. It's
Mm-hmm.
wide open. There is land. We can walk on it barefoot. There's hopefully a river that runs through it. There's trees. There's nature.
Got it.
Surrounded by fresh air. I couldn't do that in California, and I didn't want to do it in New York. I wanted to be somewhere that had a draw. And to me, it's either the ocean or mountains. That's where I'm in my happiest.
Yes.
And I wanted to be around people who were engaged in physical activity. And so I first moved to Fort Collins, which is about an hour north of here, and it just wasn't the right place.
Okay.
And someone said, like, check out Golden. It's right at the bottom of the mountains of the Front Range Mountains. And so I look out my window in the morning and I see mountains. Yeah. And it's 15 minutes from Boulder, 15 minutes from Denver. I want people to be able to fly into Denver and then come work with me. Okay. I needed a home. Yeah. I wanted it somewhere close to an airport and surrounded by nature. Yeah. And this was the best of both worlds. And so I'm in the active hunt of, like, literally Saturday after I trained, I was like, I'm going to drive around and see if I can't find farm properties and just get an idea of, like, what are properties like here? I can't afford it today. Right. I want to be engaged in the vision. Yeah. So as opposed to, again, this someday idea, right, where people are like, well, why are you looking at land if you can't afford it? Right. Well, because I'm in it. Yeah. Someday I'll be able to, and I want to have looked at 100 properties when that day comes. Yep. So really, Colorado to me is there's a lot of freedom. Mm-hmm. Right. I want to be able to hunt my own food. I want to be able to fish my own fish. Yeah. I want to be able to, at some point, procure the vast majority of what I ingest. Yes. But really, Zeb, it's about bringing mostly men, to a place where they can take off their societal suits. Yeah. And return to their true nature.
Yeah.
and be taught and led in all of these ways. I've got most likely, mark your calendar, August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. I'm having a men's gathering. First
August.
time, the Uncivilized gathering in Colorado. I don't know where it's going to be yet. I don't know what we're going to do yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I know I'm going to make it cheap. I'm going to make it accessible. People can camp. I'm going to be like, men, let's gather.
Yep.
Let's do some really cool shit. Let's have some really amazing conversations. Let's actually learn what it's like to be present and intimate and share shit that we're going through.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe like throw some fucking knives and stuff.
Awesome.
And wrestle.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's really what took me here. It was more of like, I'm following a calling that I don't 100% understand.
Yeah.
But it's that, follow your path, right? Follow your heart, follow what feels right, even if it doesn't make sense intellectually. That's why I'm here.
Gotcha. Okay. I just put it on my calendar.
Awesome.
Obviously August 2019.
Yeah. No. Yeah. 2019.
Yeah. Awesome, dude. I'm so happy for you. So also the last time we talked, you had a vision for Man Uncivilized, and you had an idea of what it was going to be in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously it's going to take a number of years, but are you happy with the direction that it's gone so far?
Definitely.
Okay.
If I look at, true stories, Zab, Man Uncivilized celebrated its 1-year anniversary.
Awesome.
About a month ago.
Awesome.
And in that time, it went from just an idea in my head.
Yes.
And, like the 4th item on 1 out of 4 on a to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was going to teach the Year to Live project. I was going to write that book.
Yeah.
And since then, I've written this ethos. I've written a 35,000 word book that goes with it.
Wow.
I have a website. I've spoken to men. I've run a number of men through the program. I have 2 male coaches who work for me. Yeah. I've got a TED talk on masculinity. It's just been I've got t-shirts. I've got branding. It's like people now reach out to me and ask. I get like 35 questions a day on Instagram from both men and women.
Awesome.
Which are like, what do I do with my man?
Yeah.
He's struggling. Or guys being like, hey, I'm struggling. What do I do?
Yes.
So this is still, it's bigger than I am.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm more than happy with the trajectory. I'm like you. I want to be 5 years from now business-wise.
Yes.
And then 5 years from now, I'll be like, fuck, I wish I was 10 years from now business-wise.
Right.
And then tempering that with the also like, God, this is the best time to be in business.
For sure.
Like early, hungry.
Yes.
I'm up, brother, at like 5:15 in the morning and I fly out of bed.
Yes.
And I do like a 45-minute morning routine. And then I'm like, okay, what am I doing today for work?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It really is the best. It's
best.
I try to describe it as like a spiritual and physical hunger.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not. All right. Sorry. Hang on.
It's okay.
Go ahead. Yeah. Like I describe it as a spiritual and physical hunger in that there's things that you want so bad, and there are basic things that you should do, like take a shower and brush your teeth and eat.
Yeah.
That you kind of just forget about. And I never knew that was like a thing. And so at any given moment of time, you're just like, I should really do this. I should really like eat breakfast, but it's like 2 PM now. Yeah. I'm just so into what's going on right now because it's the fucking future and it's right now. And if I let this go, I'm scared that I'm going to lose the flow or I'm going to lose the momentum. And next, you're like, it's 1 or 2 in the morning and you're just laying down in bed and you're like, dude, I don't know what's happening.
And oh my God, today was awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
And
today was
like,
so awesome.
Yeah. I know today it's like, there was so much that was done today that I won't feel the benefits of for maybe years.
Right.
Like we're planting seeds and just doing like whatever we need to do that needs to get done just based on faith.
Yeah.
Like I say it a lot too, in that we would have no problem explaining these concepts to a farmer.
Yes.
Because you'll do something in July and you're not going to understand, you're not going to see the fruits of that until like next year.
100%.
And so, okay. So last question. And then, so and I know that like once you commit to something like fully, you're in it 100% and you have this plan that's like airtight, but not one time does the plan go according to plan.
Right.
It's either you commit fully and you're doing what needs to be done, But if you're like 98% in, shit goes wrong and then you get fucked up. But if you're 100% in, shit still goes wrong.
It
but
will.
So yeah, and it will. But it gets to the point where things happen that like help you that you didn't expect.
Right.
Like you'll meet people that give you the thing that you didn't know you needed, or you'll be associated with an organization that gives you, like, I didn't expect the double lung transplant recipient people.
Right.
And I didn't expect, like, on my reselling hustling gig, I usually just buy from individuals, but I didn't expect offers from like fucking corporations,
right?
To be their guy. So there's all these weird things when you go in all in.
Yeah.
So I know that you're happy with where Man Uncivilized is going, and I know that it's so cool. But I know without even knowing, I know that things have happened to you that were unexpected, that were really, really great. Like, yes. Can you, so what can you just tell us some of those things?
Sure. Early on, I met someone who was like, I really believe in your branding.
Yes.
I believe in this idea. Let me help you with the branding.
Mm-hmm.
So even when you see like the thing you're looking at,
yeah.
I had help with.
Awesome.
And just amazing help with the branding.
Yeah.
Of hours of conversation of this person just trying to understand, and also just it was her own genuine curiosity. Of like, what are you trying to do with men?
Right.
I don't get this.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell it to me in a different way? So much help in that regard.
Yeah.
And then recently, the idea of taking it from Man Uncivilized to The Uncivilized and mm-hmm. making that, or even just Uncivilized as a brand, mm-hmm. is this is so random, Zeb. Like, I threw a Instagram post out maybe 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago about like, has she left yet? Like, talking to guys like, has your woman left?
Yeah.
If she hasn't, she's going to.
Right.
And
right.
I talked to maybe 40 women that day.
Mm-hmm.
Who were like, what do we do? What do we do? What about this? What about this? Why don't you coach women? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? Let me hop on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired of texting the same fucking answer.
Right.
So I'll throw a free Zoom call. Let's just all get on Zoom.
Yeah.
I had a ton of women show up. I talked just for an hour about the state of men.
Yeah.
Got hired by a couple of those women to help coach them with other things.
Awesome.
And then was like, why aren't I doing more Zoom calls? And then started doing a weekly Zoom call that has now turned into my version of a podcast.
Yes, exactly.
Where last night I had a dude on, Long Distance Love Bombs. I don't know if you know him from Instagram.
No.
Jeremy Goldberg. And he and I just for an hour talked about like success, storytelling. And we had about 30 people on the call who were just like, this is amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so if you had asked me 9 months ago, will you have someone show up and help with your branding?
Right.
I would have been like, no.
Right.
Can't afford it at all.
Right.
And then would you ask me a month ago, would you be taking on as many female clients as men and using the same mindset with just a few different tweaks?
Right.
And watching them have massive success? Never.
Right.
Or would you be now starting like a weekly show that's live? It's video.
Yeah.
I've got guests lined up. Like next Thursday, I'm talking to someone about she's done like 9 months of sobriety in her 20s.
Awesome.
Like, you know what? Let's get a bunch of people together and talk about what it's like to not drink.
Yes.
And it's going to be like, cool. Where that will be, Zeb, in a year, I have no idea.
Awesome.
Like
awesome.
Who listened last night?
Right.
Who's going to open a door in a year? So those are some of the big things. And it's like, I think I have this whole thing figured out. Right.
Yes.
Like, oh man, I got it figured out.
Right.
And then one Instagram post went, whoop. Right. Okay. The whole thing's changed.
Right.
Core idea still there.
Yes.
Core mission still there. But man, it just got 10 feet wider.
Awesome.
Then hop on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
Now it's a mile wide.
Yes.
And then who knows what tomorrow's going to bring.
It's so insane, dude. Like it's so, and it's crazy because I love my mom, but she always tried to raise me to not put all my eggs in one basket, to not give 100%, like just kind of give 80%.
Yep.
And even as a boy, I'm like, that's wrong. Like this is wrong. Like nothing great comes from giving 80%. Like you don't get to be great yourself. You don't get to achieve things that are worthwhile. No one will know who you are, and you're not going to be able to affect change in that way if you give 80%. Like you, and it only solidifies. All you have to do is watch people that you admire. Like all you have to do is look at them, and at no point do they give 80%. And they've all put in their time in the dirt, and they've all made sacrifices, and they are still making sacrifices.
Yep.
And it's my mentor has this thing called bifurcating focus,
Mhm.
where or vision focus. Like you have this huge grand vision for the future,
Mhm.
but don't be married to the method on how you intend to get there.
No
Like
way.
you think you're going to get there by one way, but
No
almost
way.
100% of the time, you're not going to get there by how you think you're going to get there.
Nope.
And so, yeah, because on your Facebook group, which most men should like try to join.
Awesome.
Yeah, on your Facebook group, you said what are your Friday wins, right?
Yeah.
And so I put, because school debt haunts me,
Yep.
right? Like, and in my head, I was just gonna literally pay it until I fucking died, because it would take like 30, 40 years to pay. I think it was like 41 years when I did the math. I don't think about it because it like makes me sad. But ironically, one of the guys one of my friends who I was helping nurse his broken heart helped me with that, because he's a fucking loan guy, because he's a fucking like banker guy. So we were able to sit down and make a plan where the 41 years became fucking 5 years.
Wow.
And that was like 2 days after I took another offer, because I'm just going to be completely like honest here. On December 1st, 4 or 5 days ago, I woke up, first time in like 2 years, I woke up with a negative bank account.
Okay.
Right. And that hasn't happened in like 2 years.
Yeah.
And money was coming in,
Uh-huh.
but it was like a fucking Friday or something like that. And banks aren't trying to do shit until like Monday.
Right.
So I was stuck. Like I was stuck for like 3 days. Right. And that's when I realized like, wow, I essentially, this is business 101. Like, don't try to quit your job while, and go into business full time if you don't have something. So what do? I fucking quit my job, and I did it anyway. And so, yeah, pretty much all of 2018 was just like learning the skill, but not being able to reap the benefits of that skill and not reinvesting. So, I had to go back and just like rule number 5, as far as the deepest gifts grow in the garden of your wounds. Like, I could have, if it was me 3 or 4 years ago, I would have looked at it and be like, oh my God, I'm such a failure. Like, what the fuck was I thinking? I was like, I'm never going to do this again. Versus like, okay, so I did this, it led to that. And now I'm going to not do that and just keep winning. And so all that came from one conversation, which was like a little time after me accepting a job offer that happened like literally like that. And so like things just kind of come together, and things are going to be okay. And it gave me hope. I was totally renewed. And so there's magic in going in 100%. Like there's magic in going all in ways that, as great as we are, we can never predict and we can never expect, like no matter how much math we do, because there are forces at work beyond our control. So
yeah, when you go all in on the vision, I think it allows for the room for you to fall on your face a couple times.
Absolutely.
You're like, oh, big picture.
Right.
This you getting a job, it's irrelevant.
Yes.
Little picture, sure. It sucks, or it's a pain in the ass, or it's a shot to your ego, or it was like, but I didn't plan for this.
Right.
Big picture, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
You're going to get there.
Yeah. And more of like because that interview was not even supposed to happen that day. Like I had been running around doing interviews and calls like for that whole day. And I was on my way home, and that was somebody who I had talked to before who was like, call this person. And then I actually did call them, but they didn't answer. And so I'm like, fuck it, like that, there goes today. And so I'm driving home, and then the person, she calls me, and then I press the thing on my car, and I'm on speakerphone and she's on speakerphone. I'm like yelling because I can't hear her and she can't hear me. And then, but as she's talking to me, I knew it was good. Like you could just feel it, right? When everything like lines up. Yeah. Like I'm just like, look, and I knew I needed this now. So I'm like, hey, would this be better face to face? And she's like, yeah. What are you doing tomorrow? And I'm like, look, I'm about to hop on the 405 south from the 101. Can you see me right now? And she's like, yeah. And so it wasn't even supposed to happen. Like I hadn't eaten in like 5 hours. I showed up, and when I sat down, we started talking back and forth, and it wasn't just everything I needed, but it was more than I needed. Beautiful. It was more than I needed. And it's like in your gut. It's like logically it makes sense, but also in your gut and your heart, it's like, you should do this right fucking now. Like you should say yes to this now. Right. And it's like, what's the schedule? And there's a schedule that you're kind of hesitant to ask for because you're wondering if it's like too much. And she fucking offers it to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm like, okay, like this is too much. Like I should have said yes like yesterday. Like this is I'll do it. Yeah, it's like so I'm in, and then but still there's the haunting in the back of my head, and fucking 2 days later the 41 years becomes 5. Especially and we have this plan, so it was just so cool. And none of this would have happened had it not fallen on my face. Like none of this would have happened when whatever. So pretty much there's no winning that I can do with my other businesses that I could enjoy or reinvest, because all of it was going into my expenses, into debt. So that sucked. That's like business 101, which I completely broke rule number one. But
you learned.
It's fine. And that's what I meant as far as winning big and losing big. Now I know 2019 is going to be about winning big and not losing big, and being consistent, and not being a dumbass, basically.
Yeah. It's a big lesson.
Yeah.
Lots of big lessons, right?
Yeah.
You got to learn them. Talk to any single person that's at where you want to be, and they will laugh their asses off telling you about all the times they fell on their faces.
For sure.
100%.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody. I joked with Jeremy last night, because one of the things he loves to say, and I think it's such a powerful statement, is at one point, what you have now was just a dream.
Yes.
Right. And we talked about like how I would show up to do webinars,
right,
and no one would be there.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, nobody loves my great idea. Like not one single person.
Right.
And then here we are on a Thursday night with 25 people jamming away, laughing, talking about a workshop we're about to throw, or we're going to throw in the spring. And be like, he's right. Everything I have that I didn't have at one point, I went, man, it would be really cool living in Colorado.
Yeah.
For you, it would be really cool. Maybe I remember when you're like, maybe I'll start a podcast.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Right. Like there was a time when you didn't have a podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
The time when neither of us did CrossFit.
Yeah.
The time when I didn't know how to surf. The time when like all of these, oh my God, there was a time when I think I told you, I just joined Boulder Movement Collective, the Ido Portal gym.
Ido Portal, yeah.
Yeah. And for years I wanted to do that. And these guys are like, I go bouncing into that gym.
Right.
They're like, you guys have no idea. I'm like, I like jerk off to your Instagram page. Yeah. And hopefully people realize that like all the shit they have at one point, like, man, the girl you're dating.
Yeah.
But you're like, oh man, I hope I get to go out with her.
Yeah.
Remember that the next time she pisses you off, or the guys, girls who are listening to this, women who are listening to this.
Yeah.
At one point you really wanted to go out with that guy.
Yep.
It's all perspective shift.
For sure.
Right.
For sure. Yeah, man. Like it didn't even occur to me that that's the case, because like I live 5 minutes away from my gym in a really great neighborhood with like the greatest roommate ever.
Yeah.
And at one point I remember dreaming about that, because it's like I live far.
Yeah.
It's like, man, if I'm I read that. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now it's all here. And it's like now, because I remember last year I wanted badly to master the skill on how to like create money out of nothing, or how to create something out of nothing.
Right.
Because I only knew a few ways that I never actually like cut my teeth doing it.
Yeah.
But so now that I'm actually kind of comfortable doing that, of course I have to do it for a long time. I had to do it for a year before I realized like, wow, I was so focused on doing that I didn't realize that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do with it once I got it. So now instead of being disempowered by my dumbassery, now I can like move on into 2019 and just be like, okay, I can do this and I can play it smart. Like I can play aggressive and I can play smart.
Yeah. And just realize you just didn't have the skill yet.
Right.
It's like getting beaten in jiu-jitsu as a white belt, and then as a blue belt looking back and being like, oh, I would have beaten everybody had I known what I know now.
Right.
But you only know what you know now because those fucking guys tapped you left and right for 6 months. Same with CrossFit.
Yes.
The only reason you can do it is the only reason you can snatch is because you failed 50 snatches first.
Easily.
100 snatches.
Easily.
You had to make those corrections over and over and over and over.
Right.
Yeah, man. Congrats. Yeah. Sounds like you're crushing shit.
Dude, thanks. You too, man.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm gonna let you go. But thanks so much for this. And
truly my pleasure. Love you.
Dude, yeah, I love you too. So we'll talk after we log off.
Okay.